like on Twitter and everything like I did this last time.
I think you should probably put it more as basically an invite saying, "Hey, who wants to join?" And then anybody who says,
Right.
me, message them the link.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I kind of just posted all on Twitter, and I had said something the other day, and nobody had responded. Anthony responded.
Excuse me. Thank you.
I corrected myself. But he almost pulled me out and went into another chat instead. So.
Oh, man.
No,
that was too.
No, I didn't.
You cheap bastard!
So, well, sorry about that.
Who's got the money?
Not as sorry as we were.
Come on, I left it open for you guys to make, new friends, and you went and ruined it. And
I don't know, but I think Mitchell has a date tomorrow.
I don't think I can be friends with them.
So, Mitchell, I didn't actually get a chance to say anything to you last time.
Well,
but
you guys were in your own discussion, and I didn't really think I had anything absolutely from my own personal experience that I could add at that time.
Oh, okay. Do you have a YouTube account and stuff like that?
I do. I don't have any videos posted. I'm kind of working on it, but I still have somehow 1 subscriber, which I think is a phenomenal victory.
Nice, that is.
Nothing there, but I still have a subscriber.
Not to make you feel bad, my wife already has 38 subscribers on her channel. She's done 0 goose egg videos.
You know why? Because she's got boobs.
You're probably right. I mean, we were getting everything set up to start doing her channel, and then we got the good news that we have another child on the way, and so she was kind of getting tired, and we just haven't done any videos yet. So when she starts getting her energy back up, maybe we'll get something going. But I'm not going to pressure her on it. So.
No, but you will keep logging on as your wife and favoriting your own videos.
I will. What did you say? Yeah, right.
What did Paula say? Come on.
She said because I know what's good for me.
I told you, you are so her bitch.
No, what, dude, you don't even know.
Exactly. What, there's a stage beyond bitch we haven't discovered yet, which you have.
I think it's the other way around.
Ooh. Let's have a Facebook. You gotta remember, Paula is on my friends list, and I can just.
That's true.
What's this about you're his bitch?
Go ahead, do it. She'll get it on her phone. Over on
and
the other
then
side.
all you see is something hit him square in the head.
You won't see that.
I will.
I'll see it coming.
Flying over your
like 20 feet away.
It comes from behind.
So, have any
Gift
of
from
you guys
above.
ever? Yeah. So, have any of you guys ever been to Gen Con or any gaming conventions?
Okay, you've heard my
Not full-on
accent, yeah?
gaming conventions. I just recently went to MechaCon in New Orleans. That was friggin' insane.
Yeah? I've never heard of it.
It's mostly anime and gaming and some TV series. The guys that did the voiceover work from Teen Titans was the guests of honor there.
That's cool.
And they all signed my prosthetic leg, which I was just like...
Nice.
Whoa. Hang on. Back this up a bit. He signs your prosthetic leg. So come on.
He's going to go get it.
Yeah.
Let's look at Anthony's face.
No, so come on. No, how do you do that? Would you sign my leg?
So you have a prosthetic leg then?
Yeah, I'm a right leg amputee.
Oh. Do you mind if I ask how that happened, or?
When I was 12 years
Well,
old, when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, a type of bone cancer.
Oh, okay.
And during the cancer treatments, guess which show aired?
What show?
When I was going to the Teen Titans. So I wasn't expecting to survive. So anything I watched or anything that improved my mood, they said may have influenced my survival.
Oh, wow. So that's a pretty meaningful autograph.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So how old were you when this happened?
12.
Yeah, that wasn't no Teen Titans did that. That was basically you waxing your carrot.
Maybe. That probably brought some joy to his life, so they probably had a part in it.
It was pretty bad,
Oh,
though.
no,
I
that's cool.
flatlined twice.
Ooh,
Oh man,
I know what heaven looks like, though, so...
that's good.
that's
Yeah.
cool. Does it look like Rivendell or?
I wish. Man, I didn't get to see a whole lot. I found out that my name Mitchell actually means guarded by Michael, the Archangel.
Oh wow.
So I found it rather interesting. I died. I saw what I looked like when I died. I had freaking 4 golden wings, and I had Holy Scripture written all over my body. They came to get me, and I started hurling flaming swords at them, telling me I don't want to die.
Nice.
Apparently, even angels get the message when we fire flaming swords at them.
So then, any GM's campaign is really boring to you.
It wasn't all angels with flaming swords.
Yeah. Wow, that's a pretty heavy experience. That's cool that you got that autograph, though. I mean, that's
5 autographs. It was all pretty awesome.
awesome.
That is cool, man.
Oh, that's class.
I've been
Go ahead, Lonnie.
I've been gaming since '83 or '84, and I have never been to a gaming convention.
Wow.
Dude, you're missing out.
Yeah, I just
I was
never.
born in '85.
I know. Yeah, I hear that kind of stuff all the time. Yep, I'm old.
What?
You guys have been gaming longer than
My
I've
worst
been.
experience with the age thing.
Since '83. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
the worst thing I ever had with age was I went to university quite late, and I ended up in halls in my 3rd year, and then one of the girls went, "My mum's your age."
I made the mistake of telling a client something, or that I was born in '85, like a couple months ago. I felt kind of bad about it afterwards, but they laughed.
Yeah. Well, I work with special needs kids in schools, and I worked with I worked in a resource room where the teacher, who was awesome, he was awesome, and I was his assistant, and he was born the year I graduated from high school.
Wow.
It was like, wow.
That'll make you feel dated.
Yeah, and I've met people too that were like, yeah, my favorite old movie is The Matrix.
No, don't. No. Bringing it back to RPGs, the worst one has got to be, oh man, 2nd edition. It's so retro. It's just like I started playing.
I know, that was. I remember when that was
1st edition as
thing.
well. Yeah, it's the same.
I do think it's retro.
Well, it is now. THACO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I still
THACO. Yeah. Well, the fact that the THACO was great. I love
so unnatural. It just doesn't feel right to me because I've played so many other games and none of them
yeah,
work
but the
that
thing
way.
is, though, Armour, the only game I've ever seen Armour work really well in is Earthstorm, because the fact is it takes away your dexterity and makes you easier to hit the more you have on.
I like Palladium books. It has nothing to do with your dexterity.
You know,
Because you don't have dexterity.
the lens for me where I thought THACO was cool is just in the time frame. Looking back on it, I don't like THACO, but
I like the way
when
it sounds.
when you used to have to, a lot of people don't remember AD&D, and a lot of old school people do, but it's like you had a table
I
for
played a
everything.
little of it. My stepfather showed me it.
And you had a table, and I remember the guys I ran with, they would have the DMG open with, oh, you're a fighter with the table there, oh, armor class, you need an 18 or whatever, and you just rolled the dice, but it was constantly looking at tables. So when THACO came out, that seemed like a big step forward to me at the time, but now I'm like old, but I'm kind of a more modern gamer. I like storytelling games, so...
Have you seen the FFG stuff, like Warhammer and Star Wars?
I've seen Edge of the Empire.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I haven't played it, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
The system is so elegant, and me and Thomas will argue about this because we do frequently. Because I'm like, oh, you've got to like this system, you've got to like this. Thomas likes his numbers, I've decided.
I had like the Marvel heroic role-playing game, dice pools. I'm not into the story games. I'm into the individual character, like feeling like I'm growing that character, building that character. I enjoy that.
Yeah, a lot of.
Yeah, but you do that in Star Wars. The only difference is
it just doesn't work for me.
Basically, you like levels.
I do. I love
You
levels.
have to see. Levels give you the illusion of a constant progression.
Yes,
Yeah.
I gotta agree. It's to each their own, but I gotta agree. It is because everything
illusion.
just gets harder to hit. So
It's kind of like that though with video. Like I like video games, and I like the fact of growing things. Whether it's a sports game, I like to grow something into something great.
Yeah,
Whether it's an illusion or not.
With Star Wars, yeah, but it's like with D&D and D&D and stuff like that. In Star Wars, a blaster is a blaster is a blaster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In Star Wars, your sword is good till this level, and then you need this one. Then you need a magical sword to do this. Then you need a sword +1 with magic. Blah, blah.
I don't run my games that way, but yeah.
But that's how it has to be, because otherwise you're 16th level, and then you're just carving. Why is a sword any less of a threat?
What was the question?
A sword should always be a threat. A sword is a sword is a sword.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
So that's where it's like where hit points and stuff come in.
I don't think it's perfect at all. Definitely. I don't run. For instance, I don't run my games by the books how it says you should level characters, give them this many magic items, give them all of this stuff, and then also the monsters should scale with it. I don't run my games that way at all. I kind of just say this is my world. You have monsters here and there, and if the players confront them, those monsters are the same strength they would spend if they would have 10 levels from me. That's just kind of how
but the other thing is, why shouldn't you have a 16th level goblin?
You can. I would do that in my game.
Hey
that's
guys,
what I'm saying.
Robert
Most
Ogre
people
wants
won't.
in. Should I send him a link?
What's that?
Robert Ogre wants in from the Brigade. You guys want me to send him a link? Or
Sure. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, a lot of people do it by the
16.
book exactly, and they can't think outside of the words in the book. I'll be honest, I'm running Pathfinder right now. I don't know all the rules. I don't really care if I know all the rules, as long as we have fun. Yeah, it's just a nice toolbox.
Yeah, I like D&D and Pathfinder for what it does, and I can sit down and have a good time with those games, and it does something, for me, it does something pretty specific, and when I'm in the mood for that, it's fun to do. I think where I get hung up on that is I don't really care so much of whether or not I start at first level and go to 20. What I want to do is I want to create an interesting character exactly the way that I imagine them in the story. And I've never been able, personally, I've never been able to do that in a D&D type game, and that's why I like other games.
What do you think? No, the thing is, you can do it in a D&D game, but you need the right DM. Because it's how you interpret the skills and stuff.
Well,
yeah.
and it depends on the group.
Everyone wants to do like the skills rules as written. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, you can do so much. What is to stop you using a skill outside of combat? What is to stop you using a skill in combat?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just like players and DMs. The players are just like feed me stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, some are.
DMs,
it shouldn't be. It should be a
DMs
cycle where you feed the DM and the DM feeds you, and you basically just entertain. What keeps the DM going is what keeps the player going.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. But ideally, that's what it's meant to be. But the problem is, just the DM. DMs need to be a lot more flexible as well, and that's why I quite like the Star Wars system, because there's no such thing as a foul.
Right.
And it's very cleverly done, because you can have a foul with a partial success.
I like the dice mechanic. The dice mechanic for that is really cool, because it brings in narrative into the role. Yeah.
That's what I like about it, the narrative stuff. It's a lot more story focused.
I haven't been able to play a game of Edge of the Empire. I've been wanting to badly, especially since one of my friends runs it, and I've been like on his list to play the game that he runs for a while now. But I haven't been able to actually play it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, maybe Anthony will run a game of it for all of us sometime.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I'd be willing to try it and see if I like it. I mean, I have the PDF, I think,
Well,
somewhere.
Google Hang. It was never released in PDF.
No, it wasn't released in PDF.
No, because they didn't get the copyright for that. Anyway,
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's very interesting. Yeah, I'll be fun. I'll put something together and run something for you. I mean, I may even just run through the beginner box. And,
there you go.
What you think
Yeah.
of it.
Because they have Edge of the Empire and Age of the Rebellion right? Is that out now?
I have all the books. And Force and Destiny Beta was released at Gen Con.
How many books do they have?
Jedi, they've got 3 core books which can be played individually or all together. Jedi was the last book released, which I thought was genius because it got everyone used to playing every other class in the Star Wars universe before Jedi came along.
Yeah, because if it was the other way around, everybody would be just wanting to play Jedi, and that would be it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it was genius, and the way they've handled the system, the setting, obligation, duty in the case of Age of Rebellion, and that is it's so well done.
Have you been able to run it
really
yet, Anthony, for anybody?
Yeah, I've run it for a couple of friends and that. It's such a good system. Once you get the hang of the dice, it's fine.
Yeah,
That's the hardest bit. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, and the dice takes about 10 minutes. Once you start rolling them, you know exactly what's going on.
Are the dice actually particular, or do they use the polyhedral system?
The dice are particular to the system.
But don't they use a
Google
D10?
Hangouts actually does have a dice set. Nope.
How many sided
basically,
dice?
Google Hangouts.
Because there was a conversion, I thought, in the book.
You've got. Yeah, there is to stick, but the thing is, they've got symbols on them, not numbers.
Right, but in the book, I thought it had a conversion to the numbers, so
you've
you
got
could still play with
D8s.
regulars.
They use D8s, D12s, and D6.
Okay.
But there is a great phone app, and Google Hangouts does have a dice app for it. So I mean, you could play it pretty easily without actually buying the dice. I think the dice app for Androids cost me like $3 or something.
See, that's one of the things though that I don't like about certain games. For instance, I enjoy Savage Worlds. There are things I don't like about it. I don't like the deck of cards for initiative. Just the gimmicks. When there's so many gimmicks on top of gimmicks, and new dice is to me a gimmick. It's fine if that's the only thing that's that odd, but when a game has all these different gimmicks on top of it, that's when you start losing me.
Yeah. That's why I never played with
the
D&D Deck of Infinity. I mean, that just seems like,
Yeah, or the Hero cards that are out now for Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the dice in it are basically it's the symbols. That's all it is. They've got symbols on it, and the symbols refer to very specific things. And that's it. It's not actually a gimmick because it helps you. It's like in D&D, you go, oh, your target number's 24, right? In Star Wars, you'll go, right, okay, your difficulty is hard. So that's 3 of the purple dice, which you've got these difficulty dice. And then you say, right, okay, because of like the situation you're in, I'm going to add this dice. And then because of this, I'm going to add this dice to your difficulty. So you actually build the dice difficulty into it, so you know exactly where those dice are coming from. It's not abstract like D&D.
Well, and I really like that, like you can have success with a disadvantage, or I think it's called something else, or you can have a failure where you gain an advantage, and it's kind of pulls you into describing what that might be.
Yeah, you've got advantage and threat, success and failure, triumph and despair. And the thing is, you can actually succeed but have a despair. You know, it's like, I'll give you an example. Say, Luke flying down the trench. He rolls his dice, gets a triumph, yeah?
Okay.
But and that's what blows the Death Star up. But say he rolled despair, he would crash. His ship would end up stranded on the Death Star, so he'd have a limited time to escape, sort of thing. You see what I mean? So it's a very clever system. There's a lot, and it is a partnership. A DM rolls very few dice when they run it.
Mm.
And it is a partnership because it's how you interpret dice.
Right.
The DM basically narrates the negative connotations, and the players do the positive ones. You know, because say you roll a triumph, you can say, okay, I want to hit that. It shatters the bolt in the thing, and the walkway falls down, and it's a very good system. And it is a partnership. It's one of the few games where it's not the DM versus the players.
Gotcha.
Contradictory to what everyone says about, the DM, it's not the DM versus the players, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if it's not the DM versus the players, why do you put such hard shit in?
Right.
Why do you put riddles in? I don't understand them.
I don't do riddles either. I just find them for my players that enjoy them, and that's it. I can't solve crap.
I don't. If I used to put, I love a riddle.
Yeah.
And as soon as I put one in the game, my mate goes, right, I'm rolling dice. One problem.
My wife likes riddles.
Get them, or your players go nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I like riddles outside of the game. When I'm actually in the game, I basically turn my brain off, so even doing simple mathematics is a chore.
Nope, I'm in vegetable mode.
Yeah. Let me roll some dice.
Yeah, that's one of the things about like the D&D fantasy games is like always been a pain in the butt since 1983. Is that sort of log jam where the party's sitting there going, I don't know, and they're staring at a door in a dungeon with cryptic runes and something. They're like, I don't know, and it's
That's
always
why I like playing
that.
the barbarian.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like it's
That's
funny.
why you gotta let them roll for a clue if they've been sitting up for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
It's
always like been
I
kind
love.
of. Go ahead.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
Oh, that's what we always ended up doing, and doing intelligence rolls, which is funny because that can be a veiled insult. Make an intelligent roll, but
Your character's smarter than you.
yeah, hopefully your character's smarter than you. But
With their 8 intelligence.
yeah, there's just better ways to handle those situations now. But I mean, back in the day, those were always where you realize that your job as a DM isn't to make it hard for them to figure out what the next step of the adventure is. You know.
Right.
That's the big thing. For years, that's the way we played it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I did love. 4th edition skill challenges. I thought they were fantastic.
You like 4th
skills,
edition?
think
Interesting.
outside the box.
There's a couple people I know who like 4th edition.
I've never played 4th. I have no
It's
idea.
okay. Its combat was
But
very
basically,
interesting. I like its combat.
Basically, 4th edition went to where it basically turned D&D into a war game.
Mm-hmm.
What they did, and anyone that says, I'm not being funny, I have to get this off my chest. Anyone that says, the system doesn't encourage roleplay, I'm sorry, that's down to you. DM to encourage roleplay, it's not down to a fucking rulebook. Right?
I agree. I definitely agree. People hide behind the system and say that. Now, there are systems that, obviously put the dice in your hands a little more, but, you can always change that in your own personal games. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it doesn't encourage it. Yeah, but the thing is, though, you could have a system where you're rolling dice constantly, right? Roleplay is something that is created, it's not something the system creates for you. No system encourages roleplay, no system discourages roleplay, right? I mean, you could make a roleplay.
But you just said a minute ago, Edge of the Empire does encourage roleplay. So you just contradicted yourself. But
that's a completely different creature because it's a narrative system.
Well, I agree that there's no game that necessarily makes it you could have a great role play experience, I'm sure, in pretty much any game. I would say some games, like some Cortex Plus games that I've played in Fate games, since your stats are all phrases about who your character is, and you have to figure out how they apply. That system does seem to, your actions and everything have to be wrapped around who your character is more so than like a skill or something. So that I've seen that help role play, but I agree in general that, I mean, you could play anything and have a great role play experience, but it's the GM and the players that makes that happen. But I think there's some systems that are more friendly to that, than others.
Right.
No, yeah, coming back to where I was going originally with this, in 4th edition they introduced a thing called skill challenges. And basically, get your skills, basically you create a big cinematic thing or whatever, and you use your skills to get through it. But it's like, okay, so, example, right, you're running through a town chasing someone. Okay, so I'll tell you what, I want to use my tumbling to basically do the Assassin's Creed thing up the building, so I can get on a rooftop and follow from the roofs. Okay, roll, and that's it. And it's basically you build up so many successes, and you succeed in it, or you get enough failures and you fail at it. I thought it was a fantastic mechanic. Works in Pathfinder. I've used it in Pathfinder. You
have acrobatics checks and stuff. I mean, you could do the same thing. It's just you do it differently.
Yeah, but you can do it in combat as well.
Yeah.
That's what I like about 5th edition. You can do it as well. They took that from Pathfinder. So they incorporated their skill system into combat and stuff. It's all really neat.
My question is, why would somebody say you can't do it in combat in something else, like Pathfinder or any other game? I don't understand. I mean, it would be your movement, so you would use your acrobatics for your movement, and there you go. I mean, you could do that for any game.
No, but what you do is
replace that. Most of the others, they didn't even touch upon it. They basically said, we don't know how to properly balance this, so we're not going to go near it.
Balance, whatever.
No, what was it? It was basically something to get you to think about your skills differently. It's just like, say you're using it in combat, and you have the profession of armorsmith, right? You could say, I want to use my action to look at his armor and work out where the weakness is, and I'll shout it out to everyone. So you roll your thing, everyone gets a bonus. Stuff like that I think is phenomenal, and people don't do it enough.
Well, that's, talk about different systems and stuff, but like you mentioned Marvel Heroic role-playing, and that's what I've been running, and it's what I like about that system is most of those things that are all encompassed or in skills and feats in other games, you can just do in the core mechanic. I mean, you could say easily like, my hero looks at this and he has some sort of armor skill, and I'm going to create an asset for somebody else to use. And since you know how to create an asset, you know how to create a complication, you know how to do damage or stress, pretty much all those things, one mechanic, and it works for almost any kind of thing that you could think that your character would want to do, and it ends up being really cinematic and not really clunky because it all works the same way. Which I like that.
Yeah, but
isn't the way that it kind of works is you're constantly trying to justify adding an extra die to the die pool, like, oh, I'm able to do this, and I just need to add another die to this to make my success ratio go up.
That's exactly how it doesn't work, but I know what you're talking about.
That's my interpretation of those rules.
You can't really play that game with the idea if you're looking at your character sheet first and trying to figure out what to describe. It's going to be the crappiest Cortex Plus game at all. What you got to do is you got to ignore your character sheet, know who your character is, and go, this is exactly what I'm going to do. And then you look at your character sheet and you grab the dice that represent that. You can't try to optimize it. You have to do it from a story. And that's where I say like a system can really add to a more role-playing situation because you're thinking of your characters.
That's how Edge of the Empire was, and that Star Wars system.
Yeah.
As well.
But yeah, so I've played with people, and it is really boring where they do that first, where they're kind of doing and it's kind of what we all do in D&D and Pathfinder, right? You have your feats and all this kind of stuff.
That's what 3.5 turned into. It's all basically just this min-maxing thing now.
Yeah, but Pathfinder's just, all joking aside, Pathfinder's just as bad as 3.5 for that. If you can min-max in 3.5, you can min-max the shit out of Pathfinder.
I think the ultimate issue that we are discussing, though, is you're talking about having a bad group for the combination of people or a good group for the combination of people.
Sure, and the system.
No, the point I was making is thinking outside the box about how you do stuff. Because
and the systems that support that kind of thinking.
Using the D&D until the skill challenges came in, didn't really encourage you to think about your skills in that way, and Pathfinder definitely doesn't. That you could use your skills in combat. You know, because when you're in combat, you don't think about using your skills unless it's tumbling, because you get the -4 for.
Sure.
Or you're playing a class that allows you to use your intimidation very well, like either a barbarian or a hexblade or something like that, to give you those bonuses to in your attacks.
And all those things, though, are right in the rule book, right?
That's a skill. That's a thing that is specifically stated in the rules.
Yeah,
I'm talking about using your profession as an armorer to work out where the weakness is in his armor, so everyone gets a +1 or +2 to their roll.
Right, because he points it out to the rest of the group.
Exactly.
Which is someone who's a very good sailor and was very good with tying knots and stuff like that, fashions the rope in a certain way to make a trap. And that was my favorite thing to do from the Assassin's Creed 3 thing. I made a noose out of it with a rogue that I had, and as this guy we had to interrogate was coming down, I basically hooked him with the noose and dragged him up until he passed out.
Well, I think a lot of those creative things that you're discussing, I mean, I love systems that easily allow you to do that, and it can be done in any system, but I think I loved 3rd edition when it first came out, and I loved running it, but I think back to when we first started playing D&D, and it was that old school simple thing, I felt a lot more free to say, my character's going to do this and describe something crazy, and the DM would be like, just make a dex roll, plus or minus, and you do that, a lot of that sort of on the fly, off the wall kind of stuff.
If you look at complexity. We've been conditioned not to do that.
I like to think of that as confinement and complexity. They basically keep saying that we've got all this additional stuff, but it's forcing you to think that way.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I think what he just said earlier was Anthony said is true. I think once 3rd come out, everybody playing by the same rules and kind of being more rigid, it conditioned us not to do that, exactly like what you said, Anthony. I think you could still do that, but a lot of games that you just would drop into tend to frown on that sort of thing. You're like, that's not really, look at the grid. You can do move 30 feet and attack once and, don't get an attack of opportunity. And, yeah.
I try in my games, and this obviously has nothing to do with the rules, but when somebody describes something cool, like, hey, I want to do all this leaping stuff or whatever, if I think it's cool, I consider it a Hollywood moment. I award extra experience, and then I also usually will give a bonus to hit just because I want memorable moments in my games. So that's what I do, and I know it's not related to the mechanics in most of the games I play, but that's how I make up the games.
Yeah, but the thing is, say using the armor thing, if you said I want to do this in most games, the DM would look at you and go, why?
You don't have a flexible
what are you trying to accomplish out of this? And you say basically weakness in the armor, everyone know where to hit, blah blah blah, and they'll be like, there's no rule for that.
Yeah, and that's why I had problems with my 2nd edition game, because I would try to do stuff like that, and he would say, well, you can't do that. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah. This is boring. Now I roll a d20, I hit, and I do 6 points of damage.
Well,
my turn's over. Yeah, next turn.
And I think it's somewhat getting back to what you said a while ago, Juice, was that, a lot of that has to do with, really picking the people that you play with. I mean, and that really does have almost more to do with it than probably the system, too. Is if you've got a bunch of people that are kind of in the same mindset of the style of game that they want, I mean, I've sat down and played Pathfinder. I like Pathfinder, and I've had games where it's been really fun, and I've sat down with groups just dropped up in a pickup game and describe what my character does in combat, and everybody's kind of looking at me like, yeah, can you just roll the damn dice and tell me if you hit and what the damage is? Let's get rolling. We want to get through this. And to me,
That's really how I started playing, and it took me a while to get rid of that grid in my head and just to roll the numbers and stuff like that. But once you get out of that, it's a really fun experience. That's where the real role playing comes in, and you really get enjoyment out of it.
Well,
I agree.
And I don't want to, piss on people that are like technical type RPG players. I mean, that's a cool thing if you like it, but I tend to get pretty bored, and I get really bored running it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just hate that two minis on squares next to each other going whop, 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 whop until one falls.
Speaking of
over.
which, if my old GM happens to hear this, I would like to apologize on the behalf of all of our players that were at that point. We were idiots.
If I feel like combat's dragging on, though, if I'm starting to get bored, I drop the monster. It's dead the next hit. And that's just how I'll do it. I mean, or I'll deal massive damage to one of the players so they flee just to end it. I mean, I don't like when it starts to come to a lull. That pacing, I think, is really important. And that's one of the things I try to keep going. I just can't stand lulls in any action or role-playing or anything.
If I like a long combat, go ahead.
So I was going to say, I've never played a game with minis, ever. In 20-odd years of role-playing, I've never used minis, ever.
I know.
I'm not being funny. When I joined the RPG Brigade, they were like, theatre of mine. Ooh. And I was like, what the fuck's that? Ooh, that sounds exciting. And it's just like, ooh, theatre of mine. Ooh. And it's like this big Nirvana. It's
called immersive gaming, like, Anthony. You play the immersive style.
I've done that.
Anthony is supposed to be theater of the mind.
Yeah, I didn't use.
Yeah, it's just like theater of the mind. Yeah,
I didn't use minis until third came out.
I didn't use minis until last year.
I never use minis. I use my D4.
Seriously, right. I'm not being funny. Never use minis. Never use the battle grid or whatever. Blah 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 and all that. And I was just like,
how did you ever find?
I run 4th edition.
Anthony, did you ever find that when you weren't using any representation that you had a conflict with the game master or other players knowing where everybody was? Because that's one of the things that has always pulled me out of it, and why now I'm starting to use miniatures this past year. I feel like, when I have something in my mind where my character is, and then the game master tells me, oh, well, you're too far away to hit him. I was like, I was 10 feet away. Like, that takes me out of it when there's a discrepancy, in placement.
That's just down to description and trust in the DM. That basically he's not going to use the fact there's no minis to fuck you up.
Well,
and it's also a bit of a communications issue. It's usually like, you need to describe with your DM is like, usually if I'm about to care, I want to usually be about this far away from him. Something like that. It's like, wait, what do you mean? My character wouldn't be that far away.
Right.
That's usually a communications or a logic error on your DM side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and I think it is a shift in kind of gaming philosophy. I mean, because if you're trying to do something from a tactical mindset of like using strategy and your stats and your powers, and then you want to really worry about where everybody is, and a grid helps. But if you're thinking of it cinematically, I mean, I run almost everything without minis. And I just think of it as a movie scene. Would it make sense? We're co-creating a story because I'm a storyteller type game. Does it make sense that this person would be able to be in contact with this other person? Is it necessary to the drama of this that they're far away? Then I'll describe that up front.
And that's how we've always done it.
Yeah, it works great. I've never had a player since. Dropping all that. I haven't for years now running games. I haven't had a problem, but I'm not a say no. I'm not like, you're 5 feet short of being able to reach that guy.
Right.
Oh God, I'm not being funny. There's nothing worse than that. Oh, you're 5 feet short. Blah blah blah. I'm sorry, right?
Yeah, I hate that.
It's what he said. Basically, it's a movie. To me, it's a movie. The same as what. Oh yeah, this guy jumps out from behind a rock. He's behind you. Why didn't I see him? Well, you were too busy beating the crap out of the guy in front of you.
Right.
That's not a bad thing to say, though. It's usually like, well, yeah, I was kicking the crap out of that guy.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Positive reinforcement.
It's like, see, the thing is, the minis are see, this is, to me, the way I look at it, minis slow the game down, because then it becomes chess. And if I wanted to play chess, I'd play chess.
And it forces me to think in that grid, and I hate thinking like that because then it turns into the whole role-playing thing on the grid, and it really limits my experience in that regard. So.
You could do the wargaming style.
Can anybody hear
yeah,
me?
but that's
Yes, Frank, we hear you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's just as bad, because you're still measuring this, measuring that, doing this, doing that. It's just the same. Basically, you're taking it from chess to Warhammer.
Yeah, that's why I never got into Warhammer.
No one gets into Warhammer because damn minis are too expensive.
Oh, cool. That too.
I would take a cheaper hobby like cocaine.
Yeah, well,
Exactly, crack. You know.
I used to do a lot of Warhammer 40K, and what got me out of it wasn't so much the expense, which was heavy. It's the people I gamed with. Some of those hyper-competitive types were just too much.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't know how to have a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know, there was a guy. I can't remember who it was, but I was listening to I think it was a podcast, and he was kind of saying one of his philosophies. You talk about competitiveness, and that happens in RPGs, but he was saying like, when you're playing, whether you're the GM or the player, you should be a huge fan of the other characters, and if you look at it as like your job is partially to make them look awesome.
Well, I mean, it's your job. You're basically the director of the movie or the TV series that basically you are the one who is directing. Your players are the main characters, the main heroines, the main heroes. Your job is to give them an awesome time.
Well, I agree with that to an extent, but I think the players are a huge part of that too. You know, the player really, you can make the other players look awesome. You can bring out the parts of their character that make their character unique, and what you bring to the table has a lot to do. I've had bad GMing days and had great players, and the game still be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have read the Edge of the Empire book, yeah? Basically.
Yeah.
I've skimmed it.
Character death is not discussed in the book. They don't discuss it. Right?
There's no need to.
Because one of the arguments I heard is they should not die because they are the heroes. It's really
see, I disagree with that completely.
No, hang on. No. But there's threat. There is, because they've got this whole chart in there and stuff, which could really mess your character up, which means you basically. But they are the heroes. It's really hard to kill someone in Edge of the Empire. That's what I'm saying. It's not impossible, but you can do it. Eventually, you get to a stage where you're dead. Mm-hmm. But they are the heroes. If you look at Star Wars, look at Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, those fucking hobbits. I'm sorry, they would have got trodden on. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's like Sturm in Dragonlance. I'm sorry, the guy should be mounted on a horse. He shouldn't be walking across in full plate mail. He'd get to a fight and he'd just be like, "Oh, I'm so knackered, I'm fucked."
That's also a video game.
5 minutes and I'll be with you.
Well, you find, I think, depending on the genre, has a lot to do with it. I mean, if you're playing Call of Cthulhu, of course, everybody has to die. I'm running a supers RPG.
No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. Call of Cthulhu, you're not out to kill people. Call of Cthulhu, you keep them alive because the point of Call of Cthulhu is to make people insane.
Insane, right.
Not kill them. That's the one mistake everyone makes with Call of Cthulhu, because it's
I've been running Call of Cthulhu since 1981.
Woo! That's 10 years before I was born.
Yeah, oh my God.
4 years for me, before I was born.
I'll tell you, we keep juice.
Guys, I read my first Lovecraft story in 1963.
Sweet.
I was 14 going on 15.
7 years before I was born.
Yeah. Anyway, I just did a video today, posted it on YouTube about running the game, and I did one before that on what is Cthulhu. To me, Cthulhu and the Cthulhu mythos are the physical representation of the idea of cosmic horror. You know, the whole thing that we don't count for anything. We're zero. We're nothing. The universe not only does the universe doesn't care. It doesn't hate us. It doesn't love us. We just don't care. How do you get that over to your players? And that's what the real challenge is.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a different requirement than what Star Wars needs or what a Supers game needs, you know. But you can still fail and not die. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're playing Superman or something, and you might survive anything, but because a whole skyscraper gets blown up with thousands of people, I mean, that's failure. Your character will feel that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing with Superman. Yeah, basically. Superman's the hardest comic character in the world to write because it's all about the person. It's not about the powers. It's about the person. Mm-hmm. And anyone that can write Superman well, genius.
Mm-hmm. I like Batman. That's why I like Lonnie's hat.
Iron Man.
I've got every Batman comic digitally.
But,
everyone.
But yeah, that's one thing that I picked up is the mortality piece of it. You know, I played a Western where it was real easy to die, and that was exciting for a one-shot, and it really added a lot of tension at the table, and it worked. And I've run supers where pretty much everybody knows that they might get knocked out, but they're not going to die, but yet the idea of being responsible for innocent lives adds a lot of tension in itself. So it's a different thing. I think, anyway.
Here you go. Here's a question for all of you. Yeah, how many? You've all run D&D, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Pathfinder.
How many of you? How many of you have seen this? Right. Okay. You enter the cave. You feel the heat and stuff around you. You hear the heavy breathing inside, and there's a dragon before you. Oh, we'll fucking kill it. Roll initiative. It's just like. What? That's not. It's
I'm running.
You know, you should be. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Well, it depends. Actually, if I've taken out other big things gradually as I've leveled up.
Don't care, man. Don't care. If you're fighting a dragon, and you're doing the dragon properly, you should be aiming great.
Well, Beowulf.
Usually, my first response to anybody who does this, and I'm a player character, is usually, "Why the fuck are you fucking with him?"
Yeah. I'm not being funny, right? But in D&D, anything outside of goblins, orcs, or other common monsters, right? They should be. What the fuck is that? Gelatinous cube. They just stand there and go, it's a gelatinous cube. It's like, how does your character know this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember I played in one D&D campaign, and one of the things that happened is we ran into a dragon, and the first thing I did was, holy shit! You know, and he was a paladin. And he stole my. I need to drop back 20 and think this one over. You know, just to and I was supposed to.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. These dragons are used to these adventurers coming in and getting their treasure and all that. That's why you go in there. And I'm not being funny. What do you find in the dragon's thing? A +5 Vorpal sword. That means that dragon kicked the shit out of whoever had that sword.
Right.
You're telling me that your little pie.
Yeah, no, the one interesting thing that I find is I'm ex-military, former military. And there was an old saying that rocketed around. It takes 16 weeks to train a soldier. It takes 1/16 of a second to make him a veteran.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah, I know that. I spent a year in Vietnam learning that.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing to me how these guys, especially in the movies or even in the games, and I've seen players do this, just absolutely. Oh yeah, I'm cool with that, man. Really?
Yeah, but everyone goes on survivor, so I always experience a different type of horror. It's usually all mental and psychological and shit.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's one big thing that came along again, and I loved this game when it came out. So I'm not hating on an edition. I'm not a big edition word, but once third came out and you had challenge ratings and stuff, then it kind of fell on players kind of looked to the DM when they would die. If you had a total party kill, it would be like, what? You messed up that encounter. You know, you must have something that wasn't the challenge rating.
The challenge ratings in 3.3 and 3.5 were a bit screwed. It didn't work out properly if you did the math.
Of course, this also brings up the question: why did you send a dragon to players?
No, from a roleplay perspective, right? Anything that is outside common stuff, players should not be like, oh, right, okay, yeah. They should be like, what the hell is that?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
You
Definitely.
know, and they never are, because everyone's so familiar with the monster manual.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, if you think about it, think about our own world, right? You're familiar with, things in your backyard, what kind of poisonous snakes or whatever. In my opinion, in any fantasy world, you'd be familiar with what kind of monsters are going to be in your region.
In your area, yeah.
Yeah. So, a dragon, while, you look at the book and it's supposed to be rare and stuff like that, they would still be aware that there's dragons, and people may have killed them. More people died, but I think it's perfectly plausible that people will have known or seen some of these things before.
Well, and a lot of those.
I haven't got a problem with that. What I've got a problem is there's a difference between hearing about it and having the thing standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of that too. Is I think that can be handled because there's a lot of different ways to do a fantasy story, and I think a lot of that can be handled when you sit down. Like the first session. Mm-hmm. Okay, what is going to be the tone of this game that we're going to play? We're going to do fantasy. Is it going to be high magic, low magic? How common are these things? Are we going to have it be a realistic situation where you're going to piss yourself the first time you see a monster, or is this going to be a deal where we're all heroes that fearlessly face this type of thing? Because we've all read books and seen movies where it goes either way.
That's true.
I think that's an agreement. Well, yeah, and that's an agreement.
Is this game going to be beer and chips, or is this game going to be hardcore role playing?
Actually,
I think you can role play different types of characters. You can have different levels of realism and still have a role playing experience. But if one person thinks it's going to be
realism, these dudes shoot fire out of their fingertips.
Right. Well, if one person thinks they're playing Game of Thrones and the other person thinks they're playing an R.A. Salvatore novel.
Right.
One person is going to be disappointed.
That's true.
Yeah, my experience really hasn't been that much with fantasy, believe it or not. But I did the best fantasy game I've ever run or played in was actually Cthulhu Dark Ages.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's very low magic, and the magic in there is lethal to the person who uses it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a lot of historical background, and you kind of go in there and realize, what the hell are we facing? A lot of the players are going, what is that? They're playing in character. The character's going to go, what the hell is it? Oh shit! It's the devil! It's a demon from hell, and run away.
But that's what you're from a lot of role play. See, the thing about Cthulhu is. Your character's insanity goes because you realise you are insignificant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You realise that you're nothing. But it's like...
And that goes with the way games make you feel, though. That some games try to give you that grittier feel, and other games, like Pathfinder, like to make you feel extravagant and fantastic,
Or exalted.
Yeah. It's just
That's got to be one of the hardest sells in Call of Cthulhu, to get people interested in playing or wanting to continue to play, is why do we game in the first place? We game so we can feel important, so we can be super, so we can be, I don't want to be an overweight, overage,
barely able to get out of bed.
Bald-headed old man. But in various role-playing games, I can be this tough young mercenary or this valiant warrior, this Viking chieftain, what have you.
Well, I think that's
we shake the world.
I think that's
I
one
like
of the
it
reasons
cool.
that the White Wolf games were so popular, especially when they first come out, because
Yep.
it allowed you to have this horror vibe and this darkness and this foreboding, but yet you were still powerful. You still had this sort of power fantasy.
But the other thing with that was it was not D&D.
Right, right. It was a different
That
approach.
was
Yeah.
it was a completely new thing. It was not D&D.
Yep.
But the thing I actually really love about Cthulhu is, what's your superpower? Reading.
Yep.
Right.
Actually, the interesting thing is, the interesting thing is when you look at stuff like Delta Green, you're not looking at your typical Lovecraftian protagonist.
You're more
You're
empowered.
looking at-
Yeah, even
Yeah,
Delta Green's just as bad though. It's like, what have you got? We've got all these guns, and it's just like, they're no good. It's like, you just...
Depends on what you're fighting. It really does. I mean, if you're looking at the low level, I've done games. One of the ones I really enjoyed was sending a squad of American paratroopers in World War II, putting them up against a hunting horror. And they actually succeeded. Cost them about half their number, but they managed to kill the damn thing. And that was just one beastie.
But did they succeed? How many of them were going by the end of it?
Yeah,
because when you read Lovecraft, as you know, by the end of it, everyone's mental, everyone's mad, everyone's in Arkham.
Yeah, that's true, and and I've actually gotten out of a campaign, or rather exited a campaign, by just having my character just, basically look at the other members of the group and saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. I've had enough. And walking away.
Yeah.
Of course, the cultists killed me later on. They caught up with me and cut me down in the streets, but hey, that's how he felt. I've had enough. Okay, everybody has a breaking point. And you look at your character in Call of Cthulhu, and you think, what's the breaking point? Where do you draw the line? Where do you say, okay, I'm just a librarian. I've had enough. God damn it, I want to go back to being that.
Right.
Then the real
go back to reading books.
Yeah, I want to go back to. I actually had one of my friends who played in one of my Cthulhu adventures. At the end of the game, she says, because they've been all over the place, tracking down, this, that, and the other, and she said, I'm going back to Arkham where stuff like this never happens. And we all had a great laugh after. Yeah, it was wonderful. But, so you get out. Can you leave it? Can you walk away from it? Can you just say, hey, 20 years ago I stopped a group of cultists from summoning Yogg Sothoth? Probably not, because I also happen to believe that my late father, God rest his soul, taught me actions have consequences. And they do.
And they should.
And they should. Well,
that's the one thing about D&D. It's like you get when you're looking at low-level adventures, right? This village is going to give you 20 gold to save it from the bandits. Now, I've had this debate with someone, and it's something I'm going to put on my channel. They will pay you with goats. They will pay you with pigs because it's what they have. They would not pay you a stupid amount of money.
That's your world, Anthony.
Yeah. No, but it's a peasant village. You know, why the hell would the king go, bring me these adventurers who are 5th level, don't worry about my whole fucking army, or like the Night Watch who are completely incompetent.
They do that because they know that me as a player, I don't want to be milking cows to make money for my swords and stuff. That's why.
Well, and that's another thing that is the trouble with D&D. I hate to hate on it. I've had great fun playing that game for many years. I play it again. But like,
it's the flagship role-playing game.
Sure.
Everyone's played it.
sure.
But the king isn't looking at those people and going, why these are 5th level characters? Why would I have them instead of somebody else? Because they're just somebody who recently had some sort of success. If he's called to them, they have to have a reason. But nobody really knows. That's the thing about D&D that's hard is like, like, you know, heroes, even fictional heroes on the page, they don't have levels. You know, they don't have levels. You don't know how many hit points Gandalf has.
Right.
Like it is, though. I have this standing.
He has lots because he came back from the Balrog.
Right, right.
Stole all that XP. What, Mitchell?
I was just thinking what it would be like. The king would be all. I have this standing army of over 10,000 I can send off to get my daughter rescued from the evil wizard in this tower, or I can hire these 5 new guys.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's
See,
good.
this is the other thing about the evil wizard in the tower. All these tropes need to be torn down and reviewed. There's an evil wizard in the tower. The fact you're calling him evil means he's done something in the past.
I'm intentionally being over dramatic.
Label evil.
Yeah, but make him so he's not evil.
Ass earlier.
All you have to do to change that trope is just flip it. So, okay, yeah, there's this evil guy in this tower. They go and discover he's a happy, friendly guy with fluffy bunnies, and he's not evil. You know, you can totally flip it around and then put it back on the players.
Yeah.
And make it so the king was evil.
Yeah, the king was evil. It was his brother. He just hated him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the king, I'm not being funny, the king, right, is the king. And the thing is, is your character going to commit regicide?
Maybe. It'd be a fun campaign.
Yeah.
See, no one does those campaigns, though.
What is the old saying? The king may not always be right, but he's always the king.
Exactly. And what's the other? What is it? He may not be right, but he's always the king, and it's good to be the king.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, it's really interesting. You talk about flipping the tropes, you know, and things like that. And one of the things that I pulled in Call of Cthulhu is Dr. Smith, thank you for all your help. Oh, that's quite all right. And then comes the betrayal when you find out that Dr. Smith is indeed the leader of the damn cult. You know, but here's this guy, and he's helped you get rid of this other cult. Why? He wants you to get rid of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought of what? Have you ever thought of what, for example, let's say, for example, it's modern day. You've gone out, you've wiped out these 13 or 14 cultists here in America. You ever thought of what Department of Homeland Security probably thinks of you guys? You know, this party. I mean,
well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing in role plays. It's just like you go around, you wipe out all these people, right? And it's what you're saying about there's no repercussions. Yeah, they're evil cultists and stuff like that. But someone's funded them. You know what I mean? And it could be the king. You know, it's just like it's like one of the things I did was they were hired to clear out a dungeon, and they've got all their swag and look. And the geezers that hired them were waiting outside the dungeon when they come out, and they went, right, we'll have all the stuff you found in there. And they were like, but you hired us to clear out dungeon, this, that. So it's like, if you don't give us stuff, they'll kill you. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, why the hell? We're not stupid enough to go down there. We can say 200 gold. Here's your 200 gold. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. We love doing that.
Yeah, and that again, like you know, setting up expectations before the game helps, because a lot of times when I sit down with people that want to play D&D, they just want to go down and kick open some doors and kill some monsters and get a lot of stuff and watch the numbers tick up on their character sheet. And if they don't know, if they can't vote with their presence before you start that you're going to actually run a thoughtful campaign that where there's repercussions for actions ahead of time, then a lot of times that just ends up in frustration. It has before for me, where I tried to run something I thought was cool, but it isn't really what the people that I'm playing with want. And, you know.
That's why communication is. Excuse me, Anthony. I was just say that's why communication is so important in this. To sit down. I mean, we used to have dinners before. You know, oh, this is what the campaign's like. Oh, would you pass me the lasagna, please? You know, something like that.
Right.
Sit down.
Man, you have lasagna at your role play? I'm coming to your house.
We all had lasagna this last game. It's funny.
But the idea is you sit down and you say, okay, people, what do you want? What are you looking for out of this, out of the game, and you try your best to get everybody on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And you start with
Here
that.
you go. Here you go.
Yeah,
go on. Sorry, couldn't I go on?
But no, I mean, really, that to me is very important because I've had whole campaigns run off the rails because I didn't do that.
Absolutely. And
Actually, everyone talks about like, oh, this is how you do this, flip this trope, and this is how you do this trick to confuse the players and stuff like that. Do you want to know the easiest way to do it? Add common sense. Get your adventure and then put common sense in it. Mess any party up.
I think it's important too. I mean, you don't want to flip every trope. I mean, you want the players to expect certain things and every now and then change it up on them as well. Because, if you're always flipping the tropes, then they have no idea what to expect in any world, So don't flip everything,
Well, it comes back to that communication. If someone's going, man, I want to play, Drizzt Dort, and I want to be a badass, and you're going to flip those tropes and make them be the world work in a more realistic fashion. That person's going to be pretty pissed off if they don't know what they're getting into. I'm not saying that one way is better than another. I'm just saying that you got to know what it is.
Yep.
I ran a bog standard campaign once, right, and it went on and on and on and on, and then basically these players amassed wealth, power, etc., and all this. It wasn't until the end they actually realised they were the bad guys.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Because they'd gone around killing this person, killing that person, wiping this dragon out. The dragon in the mountain that kept the town safe because there was a damn dragon in the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go around and wipe all these people out, you change the geopolitical landscape.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And basically, they're going around, they're doing this, they're doing good. Yeah, but the problem is, they're doing good from their point of view.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny we're talking about these tropes. Like I've talked about this in a video before, and I stole it from somebody else's video. But I have samurai dwarves with no beards, and that's a big deal. Everyone knows dwarves have beards. But the reason I made them samurai and stuff like that, I took from Asian culture, is mainly because of the Great Wall. And in my that portion of my world, I want the only people that could make this huge wall that spans a whole nation would be dwarves. So that's how I kind of justified it while still sticking to the root of the dwarves. But, but yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the elves. We would have made it out of wood.
Right.
Just lots of whittling.
Somehow the whole concept of samurai dwarf.
Right.
That's great, dude. That is really cool. I did. Has anybody here tried Lord of the Rings: The One Ring?
I have not.
No, I've seen it.
I've played Merc.
The closest I came to that was playing the Lord of the Rings Monopoly Edition.
Wow. Okay, I have. One of the most successful campaigns I've ever run was with Lord of the Rings: The One Ring. And the first thing we did is everybody met at my condo, back when I had one, down at Clearwater.
That's different from a tavern.
Hello, from Gainesville, Florida, by the way. But we all sat down and we said, okay, and I said, what do you guys want to do? And they all outlined what kind of adventures they wanted. Now, I was fortunate that, first of all, most of them were very old and good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, at least two of them were such Tolkien scholars or Tolkien nerds, whatever you want to call it. They could have taught it at a university level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had one, and we went from there, and it was really one of the most incredible campaigns I've ever run.
Was it hard because they knew more about Tolkien than you, probably?
No, actually not, because we were all such good friends, and they all said, okay, well, this is your game. Besides, in the One Ring, you're actually dealing with the Wilderlands, the eastern part of Middle-earth, which Tolkien never wrote about. He didn't write much about it.
I did not know that. That's good to know, because I want that game, so someday.
Yeah, it's a tabula. And we had a great time. I mean, where else are you going to find two hobbits a dwarf, an elf, and a human. You know, and they all get along just fine. It was great. They learned they fought together. They learned how to use their abilities to complement one another.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a remarkable game. And I enjoyed it
when you
immensely.
have that chemistry among your players where they'll work together for different things.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of feel that way with my current group. We've only played 2 sessions, and I don't really want to mess that up too much, and I have 2 new people joining us the next session. So fingers crossed.
Right.
But,
That's always
What were you saying, Lonnie?
Oh, I was going to say, adding new people in the group, it can either put a real shot in the arm and make everything awesome, or it can do the opposite.
Yeah, I'm scared. I mean, one of them is my Savage Worlds GM. I worry he might be a little bit of a rules lawyer, but I don't know because I haven't had him as a player yet. And the other one is our new player from the last session, his now fiance. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I don't know how it's going to mix it up. And I'm excited, though. I think
Let's see how it works for him.
Yeah, we'll see how it works.
No, I was more like, ooh, the fiance.
Yeah, we'll have
that
2
could be bad,
female
yeah.
gamers
They're
now.
either going to leave married or separated.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me. I'm very fortunate. I married a woman who is also a gamer.
Me too. That's the only reason I play fantasy games is because of my wife.
Yeah.
Because your wife lets you.
She got me back into it. I played Palladium books for years, starting when I was 11 or 12. And so all I ever wanted to play was Heroes Unlimited and Rifts. And then about 4 years ago, I met my wife. She had D&D, and she wanted to play 2nd edition. So she got me into that, and I got her kind of into the other stuff, but now I just play fantasy games. But I enjoy it more, and I didn't think I would. I thought I would feel like everything was a trope, but the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, my wife is very heavily involved in the SCA, Society for Creative Anachronism. And, yeah, it's really, if you're going to do fantasy, this is the person to be married to because she tell you all about all sorts of fascinating things about the Middle Ages. She's an excellent seamstress and a very excellent poet and singer. She was, you know, I'm very proud of her accomplishments. You know, but it's a lot of fun, and she's very much into the history of women in the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages.
What about Joan of Arc? Did you ever talk about her?
She actually tends to talk more about Boudica or Boadicea, as other people are. Yeah, Boudica, you know, Boudica. That's kind of her idol. She's Celtic descent.
Okay.
Fine Scottish woman, as I'm. Yeah.
Yes, she is, and appears on our 50p piece.
Anthony, what part of the world are you from?
I'm from London, England.
Oh, excellent. I have relatives there.
Oh,
I haven't
cool.
talked to them in years, but and I know a lot of people there too from the various gaming industries. It's some great folks over there. Great folks. Great.
Thank you very much. That's great. Yeah.
My brother-in-law is from Carlisle. Does that sound right? Carlisle, England?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Carlisle's right.
That's way up north, isn't
Carlisle
it?
is Wales. No, that's in Wales.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. My God, my mother's family is from Wales, or well, her ancestors were from Wales. But I think it's fun. But anyway, I love doing research on I think it's a hoot. But I love to do a lot of research and something else too. I got a confession to make, guys. I'm a historical miniatures gamer as well.
There's a problem with that.
I do it all. I've done it all. I quite frankly can't see why one particular facet of the hobby has to say, "Oh, role players, ick, ooh."
Yeah.
No. Seriously, we were talking about this.
About people that were elitist, kind of elitist, you know, where they're like, "Oh, you have to do theater of the mind, or you have to do this." You know, I'm kind of like you. You know, I dabble in everything. I've played miniatures the last year. I'll do theater of the mind, but you can get different, you know, emotions from different games and different visualizations from different things, you know, and there's no reason to poo-poo on someone else's fun, you know.
No. Now, when these stupid ass edition wars started, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Right.
That's the most retarded stuff I'd ever heard.
Yeah, I'm going with you on that one. Because for me, the basic principle is if your players are having a good time playing it, you're having a good time running it, it's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Andrew.
You know?
See, all jokes aside, the thing of Lonnie is Mr. Armstrong. I've seen you on YouTube many times, but never actually spoken to you. The main thing, the problem, the thing about the whole YouTube video is people overanalyze the game way too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you weren't analyzing it too much, you don't have a YouTube channel and you're not putting out videos like Lonnie here.
Yeah, but it's what I said to you earlier. It's what I said to you earlier, though. It's like you say I do a bit, this bit. But the thing is, it's just like you're not bashing yourself into a corner with that. You know, you're not. You know, it's like people do. I only talk about this. I only talk about that. Blah 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 and all that. But it's just all like. There's only so much analysis you can do. I mean, a lot of these people that go on YouTube and do that, show me some live plays. Show me you playing the game rather than damn well talking about it. If you're that good that you can sit there and talk about it week after week after week after week, do a live game. Show me an adventure. Show me you constructing an adventure rather than talking about the damn mechanics behind it. Yeah, I just want to see you sit down with the books and say, right, this is how I write an adventure. Show me something practical and useful rather than something theoretical.
I never say I'm a good player. I just enjoy playing, and I actually almost videotaped my last game, but I forgot about it until halfway through the session. So.
But you know what? Yeah, but you know what I mean, though. It's like there's a lot of people who sit there and espouse this, and this. Show me a damn game. I want to see you play. Then I will judge whether or not. I mean, many people can talk a good story. Show me the proof.
Yep.
And that's one thing a lot of people on YouTube do not step up and do.
You know, it kind of reminds me of something that I kind of think about being a musician too, and I think it's a danger that we can all have is like, especially in my 20s, I would go and I would hear a musician and I would compare what they sounded like to me to what I wanted to sound like. You know, because it was really comparing what they actually seemed like to me to what I wanted to be. And I think a lot of times in YouTube or being a GM or a DM and you're sitting in somebody else's game or watching one on TV, it's really easy to go, man, this is not the way I would do it. This person isn't as good as me. But really, if you think about how you really are, I mean, tape your own game, not even just to put on YouTube, but I've videotaped some of my games just so I can watch. And there's a lot of things I see where I go, man, I suck. But
but the thing is though,
like, ooh, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, but the thing is, what you've got to look at is when people say, "Oh, sit down, talk to your players." If you, like you say, if you video your own game and watch it back, you are your own worst critic, and you will improve lots.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mitchell, before you got kind of
I was saying, basically, have you ever videoed your own game, looked back on it, and you was like, ooh, I can't believe I did that?
No, not yet.
I could have pronounced that better.
Yeah. I think I find a lot of it is for me is more the speaking part of it, where when I'm thinking about the game and what's going to happen, I'm analyzing my brain and I'm trying to get a thought out and be expressive or RP a character, and I'm like, I'll listen back and I go, I sound like an idiot. But I mean, not for the whole game, you know. And I feel like my players have fun, but I think it's good to share the ideas, but I think it's good to keep it in perspective. I think that's kind of what you're saying, Anthony. Like, you know, I mean, it only means so much. I mean, you're trying to get better and better, but then there are just games. Like what I say to our players is like, we can take my players. I'm like, we're really just middle-aged men pretending to be superheroes.
In my early 20s.
You speak for yourself. I'm a middle-aged man.
Yeah.
No, but it's like I've seen people on the RPG videos and they talk a lot, and I've only ever seen them playing games. and that because some of them will appear in other videos where it's not them running the game. Run the damn game.
Mm.
Put your money where your mouth is. Let's have a look.
Well, and even that, it's like kind of not a real like a pass-fail kind of thing. I mean, everybody's got a range of skills.
Yeah, but the problem is talking about it and doing it are two different things.
Absolutely.
So you may sit and watch them. I mean, you may sit and watch them, and then basically you say, "Oh, that's cool. I like the way they did that." Which you will not get from someone sitting in front of a video going, "Oh, right."
I have a hard time watching a lot of the live plays, though. You know, like a lot of them kind of bore me a couple minutes into it, and I just can't, you know, do that for 2-3 hours.
Imagine how the players feel then.
It is different when you're a player,
though. Yeah, I could play in it, but when I'm sitting there just listening to it the whole time, it doesn't always sit with me well. That's all.
Yeah, but the thing is, do it as a live event, and then basically the players can talk to the people playing, ask them questions about it and stuff like that. Do it as a live event.
Yeah.
Andrew's sitting there writing, because Andrew's sitting there going, "This is good shit."
He's like, "I want to talk. I want to talk."
He's like going, "Why log into this?
This is good shit." I'm gonna live game. You say, "Right, okay, yeah, okay, we'll do this, and we'll do this." That's why he ain't saying nothing. He's too busy damn writing it all down.
Video idea.
Yeah. Cool. Dawnforge Cast, the game.
Welcome, DFC.
Oh, you see this part? Can I just say something? See Andrew's room? See the poster behind him? Right?
He says his mic doesn't work.
That was actually drawn by one of the band members of the KLF.
Your mic's not working? Try again.
He was talking before and I heard him.
I thought I heard him. I think I heard you.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Go and say something.
Coming in nice and loud.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Hi, guys.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. I just popped on.
Andrew.
Yes.
Andrew, please just say for me, "Oh, what a lovely tea party."
Say it again.
Oh, what a lovely tea party.
Love my tea bottle. What?
No, he said, "What a lovely tea party."
And then you say,
Oh, wait, you said it was Dawnforge Cast. I didn't realize that before.
Well, hello. Hello. Good
Yeah,
evening.
I've been a fan of yours for about a year.
I
I'm one of the new
want
guys
to
to the
just
Brigade.
echo the sentiments of what this gentleman, Anthony, is saying. I found it quite off-putting that people don't put up their actual game. I understand there's some people who are kind of nervous and worried about it, but that's where your all your advice shows up. You know, let's see it work in a game, and so I think it's so important. But Juice is right; it can be kind of boring sometimes, but I learn a lot. And so
That's because people don't edit. Yeah. People don't edit. Get the game, edit it down half-hour segments.
It's kind of like baseball, which is really I find really
love
boring
baseball.
to watch, but really fun to play.
You can't
Sorry,
really
I'm an
edit
ice
out.
hockey fan. New Jersey Devils. No, but the thing is, record it,
Arsenal.
whatever, edit it down to half-hour chunks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
15
I watched live plays. Like, for instance, the PAX games, I enjoyed those. But they're also not, well, I guess those are pretty long, too. I have live plays that are in my watch later list, but to have the time to watch them for 3 hours is kind of difficult.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
And all the other
Edit
stuff,
the
too.
chunks down.
Yeah.
Just edit it down to quarter-of-an-hour chunks, half-hour chunks, like a TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes,
Treat
too,
YouTube like TV.
right.
No
And
one
sometimes,
does it.
too, when they're playing the published adventures, if it's something I think I might play in someday, like the Rise of the Rune Lords or something, you know, I want to watch it, but I also don't want to ruin any of the elements of the story for myself. And then I mean, it's hard enough finding a group for yourself that's the perfect style, then trying to find somebody, you know, who has the right style for your interest also online is kind of difficult as well, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I started watching Lovecraft Zine does the Call of Cthulhu games along with some other stuff, And I watched one session, and I got about 15 minutes into it, and here I am watching my favorite game, and all this, and the first thing I think is, Christ, this is boring, because I wasn't taking part.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
role-playing games to me are, kind of like sex. It's a it's not that great a spectator sport. It's much more a participatory experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is. And
It's good to use hand sanitizer afterwards.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Just don't touch my
It
dice.
goes back to editing. I mean, when I used to put up live plays, I used to edit them. I'd take out the big pauses with people going, so they were like a TV show. You cut it together like a TV show. Take the gaps out, shorten bits and stuff.
I'll add something though. My channel started with just doing the plays, us recording our games, and I edited them down to like the really funny or essential moments. And over again, people kept commenting, please just put the whole game there. I'm deployed in Afghanistan and I can't play, and I just want to have the experience of being at a table. And I agree with you. Watching it, it's kind of like, where's my investment? But it's been strange that you don't want people, at least in my experience, want to see the whole thing. They want those little side conversations and jokes. And
I think it's like auto-tune. Almost like auto-tune to edit them.
What, Lonnie?
It's almost like auto-tune to kind of edit them to a degree, because some of your skill at the table is pacing and getting the game moving and kind of, no offense to Anthony, I mean, if you're kind of chopping that up, it can be a little misleading because you are taking out the boring parts to a degree.
Sorry.
Well,
I don't mean you specifically, I mean in general.
No, I understand, but the thing is basically, or what you could do is just go, right, 30 minutes, chop. 30 minutes, chop.
Right.
30 minutes,
Yeah. Just to break it down into smaller segments.
You're making it parts. Because you cannot, I'm not being funny. By the end of Return of the King, my arse was killing me in the cinema. I was just like, no one shoot me. And I'm not being funny. A lot of these roleplays, the videos go on longer than Return of the King.
And you know, Anthony, in Return of the King, they didn't shop for 50 feet of rope and 10-foot poles.
No, but that's what I mean. Just cut them down.
To be fair, they didn't have time to shop for anything.
Just take them, leave the whole thing there then, and just edit them into segments.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing to do.
No, but I'll admit,
next time.
I've only made a handful of videos, and like I kind of said in the last time we started this up, I kind of only really make them when there's just something I want to talk about. And I record my game sessions, and I don't post them for that very reason of, like, they're for my own development, and I certainly don't claim to be an expert. You know, if I have something, an idea that someone thinks will help, that's cool, but I'm not marketing. I'm not trying to get subscribers, not trying to market myself as like an expert in RPGs. I mean, I've just been playing for a long time, and I'm always looking to make my game better, and that's about it. But maybe someday I'll share something.
To me, and no offense to Andrew, because Andrew do full cast and all that. To me, that's how you get subscribers. You're not.
That's how Anthony started talking, because I used to be like that, and it's you just put a video out whenever you want. But I've found, for me, it's become a hobby in itself doing videos. I enjoy the interaction all my videos bring me.
I'm not. I want to clarify. I'm not ripping on anybody else on how they do it. I'm just saying that's one of the reasons I don't feel that I have sessions that I would go, yes, this is an example of how it's done. I'll be honest. I don't feel like I have those.
I don't have that.
No, I'm not saying that or anything. But it's just sort of like, you don't chase subscribers. People will find you. That's how it works. Yeah. Word of mouth. I'm not being funny. I'll look up your channel. I'll look at, I'm going to look up all of your channels. I mean, Juice and Dorval's Cast already subscribed. But I didn't know about your 3 channels, and I'm going to look them up after this. That's how you get subscribers. You talk to people.
Yeah, I enjoy that. Now, since we're talking about the live play, Andrew, you could probably attest to this the most. from what I've seen on people's channels, is that's one of the most unpopular videos. It usually has the least amount of views. Have you noticed that? I mean, I'm sure it has higher watch time, though.
Yeah, there's a YouTube formula for success, and that means your videos are between 2 and 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, where people say they get off of work or I'm willing to watch this for between 2 and 5 minutes, even if I don't really know much about it, because, well, it's only 2 minutes or 5 minutes. My actual gaming sessions are essential, I think, in walking the talk, but they are the least viewed, mostly because they're so long.
Mm-hmm.
It is very important to be able to show new players how it looks and how it feels in some ways. And I get asked daily, like, can I join your game? But then there's not the same watching kind of side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, YouTube have actually changed that formula now. Basically, now their revenue stream and stuff is actually based on watch time nowadays. That's why a lot of the Let's Play people are actually
doing awesome
now.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, because they've got
Andrew knows
extended
that.
watch time.
I think you said something
No,
in a video.
I just...
Yeah. No, you're right, Anthony. You're right. I had heard about that a while ago when they changed it. And that's why I think there's, 3 in the top 10 that are video game channels. And
I think there's more than that. I think there's about 6 now.
I'm not surprised, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Basically, for like, if you take the Let's Play formula, cut it down to a shorter segment, rather than putting a whole 3 hours up in one hit.
YouTube, and most of they're actually one of the most subscribed and watched channels. Their typical video is around 30 minutes.
Yeah,
exactly.
And see, that would be
so
good
if
for
you take your 3-hour
RPG.
session,
yeah.
If you take your 3-hour session, you've then got 6 weeks of content to put up once a week.
Or 6 days if you do it once a day.
But no, but that way you're not overloading. Basically,
right.
It means that basically you can record these sessions and have them in your bank.
Yeah.
So so if you have a big gap, you say you do it once a month, once a month, or say you do it once a month for 4 months. That's a year's worth of content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're right, Anthony.
That you can put up once a week.
Do you watch live plays, Anthony?
I do occasionally, and then they're too long.
Gotcha.
Because you lose, that's why half.
I found myself watching a lot of live plays when I first was trying to get into Pathfinder, which, thank you, Dawn Forgecast, because I probably wouldn't have got into Pathfinder if it wasn't for your basics channel where you were getting your now wife into Pathfinder. But yeah, I started watching live plays then for Pathfinder, and then sometimes I'll watch it, and that was for the rules, just so I could learn some of the rules, which I still don't know, and I'm learning as I go. But yeah, and I mean, I've watched other ones if I wanted to see how somebody ran a certain genre. So, I think it helps definitely to see how people run games. It's just hard for me to watch 3 hours straight of any live play. That's all.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I watch live play when I'm trying to learn a new miniatures, war game set of rules. Like recently, I got into Saga, and I've watched a lot of demo videos. I've watched a lot of, a couple of the live plays just to see how the damn thing works. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to? Because it's one thing to sit there and read the book, read through it, but you really want to see how it works on the table. What does it do? And I think this goes back to what Anthony was saying about let's see how you do it live. And it works very well for miniatures. I mean, I played solo games just to see how the mechanics work.
Right. Yeah, I did that a lot when I started running some Cortex Plus games.
I'm going to log out and back in. My audio for you guys is all skipping.
Okay.
What were you saying, Lonnie?
Oh, just with Cortex Plus, it was just such a radically different system than anything I'd run before. It was just a lot different. Like I said, I grew up with D&D and some White Wolf and stuff and Champions, but I had to run that game. All my friends that I ended up putting together in my group, I actually run a solo session just for them so I could get used to it. And along that same lines, we were talking about the new Star Wars game. Anthony was talking about it, and Runeslinger's got a great video that just explains the dice mechanic. That made me kind of want to try that game. It was a good tool. A pretty useful video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Runeslinger does a lot of, to me anyway, useful videos. Some pretty cool stuff, and I'm gonna take a shot at playing in one of his online games just to see how he runs it.
Mm-hmm.
See what kind of experience I have. But yeah, I've got all the Star Wars stuff. By the way, he had said something about the third book. He had actually seen it or he'd heard that it's all black, and it's something about destiny and power, or
basically it was released at Gen Con this weekend. It's called Force and Destiny.
Force and
Destiny.
Destiny.
The Jedi source. It's the Jedi book.
Okay, what was it, Anthony? Was it the beta test version?
Yeah, basically they've released the beta.
I'll just wait till the mainframe one comes out. But one of the things I found fascinating, because I have both Edge of the Empire and Age of Rebellion, is you look at the two basic concepts of obligation versus duty.
Mm-hmm.
That could make it for a very interesting mixed party.
Sure.
Well, with Force and Destiny, they've introduced morality now for the dark side, light side stuff.
Oh yeah, I would really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I like the new Star Wars. I used to run, the only D20 game I've ever run was the old Star Wars D20. For some reason, it clicked with me.
Mm.
What you mean? The one they released just before 3rd edition come out? Because Star Wars was always Wizards. If you look, Star Wars always had the stuff Wizards was going to do next with D&D. Because if you look at Saga, it's very 4th edition.
Yeah, in fact, I've heard people tell me the Saga edition of Star Wars is what 4th edition should have been.
Really, I've heard
which is where
when people talk about the Star Wars, I've heard the D6 was the best one, and I've heard people poo-poo all over the D20 one.
Oh, I played D6 and liked it as well.
West End Games one was good, which is the D6 one. The D20 one, initially, before they revised it, was kind of D&D in space, and then it kind of found its feet with a revised edition, and Saga edition was basically 4th edition D&D.
Okay. I'd love to try them. I know that. I like
me
Star
too.
Wars, so.
I read the books, and I had the D20 version too, and I always wanted to play it, but I could never get a group together that didn't want to all be gray Jedi. I don't know. I just never found a group that wanted to play a Star Wars game that I wanted to run.
But that's where I think Fantasy Flight have been really clever. It's what I said earlier about they've introduced these 2 books with no Jedi.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
until
what
the
turned me on to
So
them.
you've literally had 4 years, including dev time with the beta and stuff like that. Yeah, or 3 years, 3 or 4 years, where you've got used to playing in that universe and not being a Jedi. Genius marketing move.
Yeah, I actually like that. I like the die mechanic because of Runeslinger's video, and then looking into the book, I like the way they set that up because it seemed like everybody I wanted to play with wanted to play in the time of the rebellion because that was their favorite part of the movie, but everybody wanted to be Jedis like from episode 1, and it just never felt right to me, and I just never,
Actually, when I ran mine, I set it, about 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. It wasn't in the Old Republic. It was the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jedi were a lot more cowboy back in those days. They liked taking their Padawans, accepting Padawans who were already in teenagers, because they wanted the Padawans that had already made the conscious choice between the light and the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
And the other nifty thing was this was back when the lightsabers were attached to a power pack on their belt. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun, especially when some of the players would forget, hey, you're hooked to something. Pop. Oh, well.
I actually used to have a girlfriend that hated Star Wars for the fact of, it's like, why don't they use mitten strings? They're always dropping a damn lightsaber, just put it on a piece of string tied to your wrist.
No, cut it.
Yeah, that's you need
And
that.
you understand how bad that would be if your lightsaber comes through anything. If it's attached to a string on your wrist and that thing goes flying, it's going to be spinning around everywhere.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, you kill yourself. That's suicide.
Yeah, no, this new edition is really, really good. One of the things I like about it is, yeah, you can be a Force user in Edge of the Empire for all the good it might eventually do you. Yeah. They make it so that you're very limited in what you can do. Yeah, you can manipulate the Force, but you're not a Jedi. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, they do that social contract part of it for you
Yeah.
that usually
Yeah.
needs to happen, where it's kind of like, okay, this is Star Wars and this is the type of game we're going to run. And they kind of already do that for you so you don't have that argument. If everybody's showing up to an Edge of the Empire game, they pretty much know what they're, what the game's going to be like, which is it's a good idea, but you can do that yourself.
Yeah, I'm kind of reminded of the old thing I learned a long time ago in Taekwondo class. And my sensei said, "Congratulations, guys! You've now learned just enough to get yourselves killed."
They used to say that when I was in the Army, too.
Has that, yeah. And
They used to say that hand-to-hand combat training, yeah.
Yeah, and this guy was a Korean Ranger officer, and I always loved his, the question when one of the guys asked him, "Sir, what do you do if the other guy has a gun? What kind of move do you make?" He just looked at him and said, "You run like hell is what you do. He's got a gun and you don't. He will kill you." You're like, okay, made perfect sense to me. Hey, Anthony, remember that we were talking about the first time you see a dragon?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Best hope you better have some skill, tricks, and hide.
Yep. Yeah. But no, it's the new Star Wars I like. One thing I did like about the old D20 Star Wars first edition D20 was the ship-to-ship combat. They had
I love it funny the way they do that in the new edition is also good. I love the way that it's the first one where ship combat seems really dynamic because you've got moves and stuff like that you can do as well. Really, really impressed with that.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it too depends on when you sit down with your players, and one of the first things you always figure out is how important is the ship going to be? Is it just going to serve as a prop to get you from point A to point B? Does it become part of you like Serenity? Or the Millennium Falcon for that matter.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things they say. Basically, the party with the ship. When you're generating your character and stuff like that, they say the party chooses a ship, not a person. The party. That way, everyone's got an equal share in the ship, and then no one's going, "It's my ship."
Yep.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, that jerk Han Solo keeps claiming the Millennium Falcon.
There we go.
Selfish
I
bastard.
would like to say this is my only game I ever played with the Star Wars D20 ship-to-ship combat thing. I asked the DM if I could design my own ship. He was dumb enough to say yes.
Oh.
So I drew up the schematics and everything. He pointed this big thing on the top and he was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "That's a mass driver." I'm like, "Okay, what is this?" So I put in my Halo 1 disc, and you see that really big cannon that can really shred ships?
If you have a look if you look at the Carillion source book, basically they call Corellia Space Texas, and all their ships are basically these little ships with just massive guns on them.
That's basically what he was. It was this fast Millennium Falcon-sized freighter with this massive-ass cannon on the top with a number of ship-to-ship guns on the side. But there was just this mass cannon. I only had like a few shots with it, though, but it kept any freighters away.
God, I would hope so.
All I had to do was turn it and aim at the engines.
Yeah. No, but I think that's always, and that's the other thing, too, for, whether you were talking D&D or Star Wars or how much is this stuff going to overpower the campaign, to overbalance the campaign?
Well, that's where the Star Wars game. It's what we were saying earlier. Before it was, we were talking earlier about a gun is a gun is a gun. Unlike in D&D, where it's just like you have to incrementally upgrade your equipment to fight everything.
Yeah, it was limited by the fact that the ammo mass driver was incredibly rare and only had a very few limited number of shots with it.
Yeah, when I hey AJ.
Hey.
Now when I was writing for Twilight 2000, and one of the great things about that game is, oh my God, you know, just the sheer amount of equipment you could come up with. Hey, we got an M1A1 Abrams tank. Great. The other guys, though, they've got these wonderful things called anti-tank guided missiles, or RPGs, you know, rocket-propelled grenades. For every big item, there was a counter move. You know, and that's always something to keep in mind. There's the environment. Oh, we got this really absolutely shit-hot freighter, man. This is the Millennium Falcon 2. Okay, fine. Welcome to the... Oh, see this? This is an Imperial Custom Corvette. They're designed to chase down your freighter. You keep it balanced.
In the Star Wars game I ran, they didn't want the Millennium Falcon, they actually wanted Serenity. So all I did is said, right, YT-3000 stats, Serenity, done.
Yeah.
Just reskin it.
Yeah, just reskin.
Different paint job.
Oh yeah, there. By the way, if you ever are looking for deck plans, there's an outfit, a guy called his named Brian Wolf, Kyron Studios. And they do gorgeous freaking deck plans. You can find them on RPG Now, I think, and through the other side. And it's real. Oh my God, they're amazing, and they're cheap. And you
So Brian Wolf.
Ryan Wolf, yeah.
Ryan Wolf.
Yeah.
Right, gentlemen, I'm afraid I need to say goodbye because it's 10 to 5 a.m. and I need to get changed to go home.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. I'll work
Have a good one, dude. Thanks for joining us.
You guys, feel free to add me on Facebook. Thomas will tell you how to get hold of me when you're off air and all that. So feel free to add. Because you four, if you want to play Edge of the Empire with a bit of Age of Rebellion mixed in, I'll gladly run it for you.
Awesome. I'd love to play.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice meeting you, Anthony.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Pleasure, gentlemen. Hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Awesome.
Later, buddy. Talk to you later.
AJ, don't take it personal. I'll speak to you another time.
No worries, man.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah, this is going to be something of an eye-opener for me because one thing I've never done, never gamed online. You know, with this, in this kind of setup, I've never done that before. I've done, you know, hell, I used to play an old Luzaki game called Battle of Britain. In my fire base in Vietnam, and I'm playing against one of the Air Force advisory team members. We're sitting there outside, in the middle of a damn war, and we're playing World War II board game. So yeah, you know.
I played D&D. Yeah, I used to play D&D in the Persian Gulf War. We snuck all our books in our, in our rucksack.
Yeah.
And, we used to play when we first got there. Our gear wasn't there, and so we'd be sitting around doing nothing in the sweltering heat, and we'd play D&D every day. Talk about improving.
Oh yeah.
Improving D&D every day. Granted, they did.
What are you guys doing? Combat strategy, sir. Very good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. I use software. I use Hero Labs.
Oh, okay.
A lot of my pre-gens.
Yeah.
Because of course, when you run a convention game, most every convention I've been to, one of the rules is you have to have pre-generated characters, which makes sense. I was at Gen Con, I think, 2011, and a couple of the guys that were playing in my Call of Cthulhu game said, "Yeah, we just got out of a Pathfinder session. It was crap. My God, it was awful." And I said, "Why? What'd they do?" Well, we had to sit there and generate our characters. Yeah.
No.
Oh, no. So I had like 14 characters pre-generated. So I was doing the American Paratrooper Squad. And one of the things I realized is, by the way, this is going to have a high body count. So I generated extra characters for everybody. We did the whole Battle Buddy routine.
That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. And
guy dead. Give me another sheet.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Here you are. Well, actually, they had teams. Each one had teams. And I've seen that now in the new Only War, the Warhammer 40K role-playing game. It's the newest one about the Imperial Guard. Yeah. And
that's all about body count, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. You can expect a high body count in that game. But anyway, the idea was also, too, I'm at Gen Con. The people sitting around my table had come from, like, several of them had come all the way from California. I'd come all the way up from Florida. Yeah, can you imagine some guy pays for the con, pays for the hotel room, pays the $6 to play the game, which, by the way, was what the convention charged. I don't charge anybody anything to sit at my table. Never have, never will. I'm just glad you're there. And all that. And I'm going to tell him after 15 minutes of playing, oh, sorry, your character's dead, but you can sit here and watch for the next 4 hours and 45 minutes. No, I'm not going to.
Give him an NPC or something. I mean, worst case scenario.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, that's what we did with the Battle Buddy concept. Yeah. If his first character got killed, he went, oh, okay.
Right.
They do it some more. And I had a couple of extras, too. I had, like, the medic and the lieutenant who, now that was a hoot. The guy playing him was a trip. And, people like that you would find at that level. And you just get prepared for that, because one of the worst things I think can really happen is when you see a player, for one reason or another, disengage. You could tell it. You could tell it in their body language, at least I can, and just the way, facial expression. You've lost them.
Yeah.
You've lost them. And I'm going to, step into a little bit of controversy, but I've seen that done to women more damn times than I care to remember, and I have spoke out about it. I've got a daughter who is a gamer, a little gamer girl that grew up gaming. And, to me it's like, no, you don't treat my daughter or anybody else's daughter like that, period. Yeah. But I just hate to see them, people disengage, they go, this. I'm not putting up with this kind of, being talked over, talked around, treated like I'm an idiot. Oh, here, dear, you want to roll this,
Right. My wife and I a long time ago, a couple of years ago when I first started my channel, I did an interview with my wife. This is probably 2 years ago. And one of the things we talked about is how she was treated when she first went to college. She grew up playing with her brothers and sisters, and they're all significantly older than her.
Yeah.
They played second edition. So when she went to college, she thought, oh, I'm going to go and join the role-playing club at Eastern Michigan. And all the guys treated her like a piece of meat, treated her like she didn't know anything about role-playing games, and then on top of that, when they would interact with her, it was always sexual or just inappropriate, and so she didn't feel comfortable, and after a few times going, she quit, and was put off by it for a long time, so it's too bad how people treat girls in this hobby, for sure.
Yeah, and I think I've had the very good fortune in many instances to have some remarkable women play. I had one that played a Viking shield maiden, and a couple of the guys that were playing Rune Quest, fantasy Rune Quest, historical fantasy rather.
Okay.
And her character, Ragnhild Ormsdottir, right? Shield maiden, personal bodyguard to a Byzantine noblewoman, in fact, head of her guard. They all kept saying, okay, oh boy, I can't wait till she breaks out the chainmail bikini. And she had her boyfriend do a couple of drawings of her character. First one is, she said, this is my everyday wear. It's a tunic with an undershirt You know, baggy pants like they like to wear because it was comfortable.
Right.
You know, and the over tunic, by the way, had the household emblem on it. That was it. And they're kind of like, oh. The second one is when she was dressed for battle. You know, when it went heavy military. There wasn't a chainmail bikini to be found. If you've ever seen pictures of a Byzantine cataphract, heavy cavalry.
Is it bulky?
Yeah, with the scale armor and the whole nine. You know, basically, you could kind of tell it was her because the armor bulged a little bit.
Right.
Where it really would not a man. And you could kind of tell the way it was drawn by her eyes. Oh, it's her. Otherwise, you couldn't tell her from any other armored horseman.
Yeah.
That's, you know, and I got the biggest kick out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of the reason that kind of happened is when the developers themselves made the stats for the chainmail bikini. I think that's what kind of helped snowball it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all seen it, I think, in convention games. Somebody makes comments. Like, there's always somebody at the table in a convention game or at a game store that makes a stupid comment like that. It's just kind of how it is. It's unfortunate.
Well, we're the ones that, we're here online broadcasting for however many people are watching, so the change starts here with us. We're role players and we're also community voices. So it's our job to step up and say it's not okay. This is not just a male-dominated social activity anymore. It's for everybody.
I agree.
Yeah. And Ernest, and God, his last name went right out of my head. A friend of mine,
What?
yeah, I can't remember his last name. God, I'm like 65. Come on, give me a break. But he did a wonderful column.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, which he said, it is time that we, the adults, take these little creeps that are sexually harassing women online, at games, and just tell them to go back to their parents' basement. Your behavior is not acceptable. Either straighten up or get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that article recently that was posted online about girls and boy gamers, and it was a survey for 10-year-olds, I think?
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good article. I just saw it about 3 days ago. And it was about how girls like role-playing games too, and for probably the same reasons. You know, it's just something people don't think about.
Yeah. No, AJ, you got it right. I mean, it's not going to change unless we make it change. And I've noticed, too, that a lot of us, like I'm married, a couple of you guys have said, have talked about your wives. Mm-hmm. I also have a daughter.
Me too.
And, by the way, my daughter is in her late 30s, and she's a gaming geek. And so is my son-in-law. But, you know, I mean, I go with the golden rule. I'm going to treat people how I myself would like to be treated. Mm-hmm. And that's going to apply to them regardless of gender, sexual orientation, whatever. Because I know how I want to be treated. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to be treated, so I'm going to treat other people like that. I want to welcome them to the table. I want to welcome them in. If you need help, ask me. I'll help you. I don't care, male, female, what have you.
So I'm going to treat you all like Batman, because that's what I'd like to be treated.
Okay. And the idea there, if people come up and they say, well, gee, I'd like to play this kind of character. Okay. If it's doable within the genre that I'm running, we're going to fit you in. You want to be a female gunfighter in the Old West? I'm going to help you design your character so that's what you can be.
Yeah.
This is something where. Sorry for interrupting. You can.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
That is so important. That is misunderstood about the role of the game master, and that is teacher. You need to teach, and it's not just coming up with cool adventure ideas or NPCs or total party kills and bragging about it. It's you're being an ambassador for something that has stood across human history, and that's storytelling, that's cooperative work, and that you need to teach these players. That you need to be. I'm a 4th grade teacher, and we teach virtues at our school. And if you're not exhibiting the virtues, then how can you teach them? And you have to be that example for your table, and you have to step, as you were very eloquently putting, that behavior is not acceptable at our table. And you have to take charge, and not a lot of people are willing to take charge. It's kind of a fear of not wanting to rustle or ruffle any feathers, but it's essential. You have to do that.
Yeah. And especially if you deal with horror games, for example, I've thrown people out of my games because I want to play a psychotic serial killer rapist. No, you ain't. Those are the bad guys. You want to play that, as I called it flat out. No offense to any D&D players, that chaotic evil bullshit. Go elsewhere. You're not doing it here. I have had groups that enacted their own justice when I ran a Twilight 2000 campaign. Yeah, well, I had one guy that for some reason decided he was going to rape his way through Poland.
No, I don't allow stuff like that.
Personally,
I never touch the controversial topics, but that's just me.
But
yeah,
what
I think what Dawnforge said was... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But what happened was, after about the second time when he got caught, the other player characters took his character out and shot him. Summary execution for rape and murder. And you go, well, I'm just playing my character. And I said, tell you what, go play it elsewhere.
That's what happens when your character does that. That's
yeah.
There's repercussions in the game as well as real life.
Because I have known, to keep it anonymous, but I had a friend of mine, another Vietnam vet, who used to run long-range reconnaissance patrols. They got a bad apple in their outfit that got caught doing a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Two of the guys took him out to somewhere in the boonies, and they parked one behind his ear and left him there and just wrote it up he was KIA. And that was it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
It's called, it's peer group discipline, actually. I've seen it at work in the private school I went to. It's very effective. When your own peer group says, no, this is not how we behave. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to, we're the ones who have to do this. We're the ones. I don't care if I am unpopular. I don't care, What are you going to do? Put me in the Army? Send me to Vietnam? Been there, done that. Did it to myself, in fact. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I find with those type of issues, like I really agree. I think it was well said, what Dawnforge said, and I think one thing is I tend not to handle those things in the narrative of the story. Like if someone's being sexist or wants to be a rape or doing some sort of inappropriate in-game behavior, I kind of like to just address it to the player out of game. Because when I've tried to let the narrative fix those things, the other characters, usually it'll ruin the whole game. Even though that person's gone and they're angry and they've left and you've brought this whole issue into the game, and it's really hard to pull it back to a positive place, after it's been there. So, I mean, I've been in a few situations where you just have to talk to the person and go, look, I don't think you realize, assume that it's ignorance. That's what I tend to do, and talk to them about why it's not appropriate to whatever you're running and why it's making people feel uncomfortable. But I'm not above kicking someone out, especially now with the Hangout, man. You can find players all over the place. Find good players that fit your style. You don't need to put up with sexist, obnoxious.
I'm really glad that the closest mine ever came to that is a guy that I knew, but he was pretty good. He played a bounty hunter, just happened to be paid more often than not to bring them back dead than alive. I was okay with that, but if it went, I kind of drew the line like any further than this dude, and we're gonna have to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I find it very odd that not that these things occur, but that people will group with other people without laying the groundwork first.
Right.
As a game master, welcome to my table. At my table, this is how we do things. If you don't adhere to that, there's another table for you where you can go make your own group.
Absolutely.
Setting those guidelines to start saves so many of these conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate.
Actually, the link I posted in the chat is artwork for a female character a female player of mine did that I really, really, really loved. So I bunkered down and spent a week working on that artwork. That's how a female character in my game should look.
I picture them normal, just like the dudes. If they're in armor, they're fully covered in armor, and if they're in robes, it's the same one that the guy's probably wearing.
Yeah, no, there's an artist on not on Facebook, on DeviantArt, I believe. I'm trying to find him again because unfortunately I lost the link. What he does some beautiful sketches of women warriors in their traditionally, he's got a Viking maiden in the chainmail, or Viking, sword maiden as they were called, in chainmail, and it's not chainmail bikini. It's the real deal. He's got a Saxon, he's got a Norman, all women, but they're dressed appropriately. And I'm like, I want to get a couple of these. I'm going to see if I can contact him for direct commissions.
From what I've seen, the new D&D, and I don't have the player's handbook, but it looks like they've done a better job covering up a lot of the females too, from what I've seen.
Especially the magic users that are females. They're not like scantily dressed. They don't look like they belong in a bordello or anything like that either.
Yeah, they're wearing robes, full robes and all the accoutrements, and their iconic picture for a human is a black female in armor, which is, that's pretty much a big tick for a lot of boxes.
Oh yeah.
And they're getting some flack for it.
Yeah.
But,
hey, DXC, go to the sorcerer though.
Yeah, that's true.
They did a good job.
Well, sorcerers are crazy.
With most of them. But then you get to the Oracle, and you get to the Sorcerer, and, you still have some risque artwork in Pathfinder. But Pathfinder did all right.
Yeah, they did. It's interesting to me the way the art is presented. Leans to the overall tone of the adventures and the book. Something else I do, and I don't know if anybody else does it, I go to IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. I will actually look around for pictures, usually of minor actors that nobody's heard of. They have a lot of nice ones. I'll download it, put it on some nice cardstock, print it out, and I go, oh, this is what your character, or just usually a stack of them. Pick what your character looks like. Pick what your character, and people really like that because it anchors the character. Anyway, the number of women players that I have, a couple of them said, do you have pictures of perhaps an older, more, an older woman? I said, well, they're over there in that pile,
Well, you could always buy the NPC cards that they sell too, and do the same effect, or go to DeviantArt and find facial portraits. You could use all sorts of different tools.
But
not only broadcasting again, we can.
Right.
But one of the things I always thought was interesting is how in the world do you fight in a chainmail bikini? I mean, you're out there. I just
think.
I was in the.
Well, you guys want to see? I'll go put mine on.
Personally, I find it very liberating.
Actually, when I was in the SCA years ago, I did some fighting. You get tagged, and tagged hard. I got knocked on my butt one time just from the force of the blow. And I'm wearing armor. And it's a rattan sword, by the way. Do you imagine getting a slice like that? And it, because, you ain't got no armor there. No, I mean, she's going to have scars all over her.
Unless she's awesome like Xena.
Well, that's true, but
I don't think that helped the image.
Actually, Xena's armor always tended to remind me of a Roman legionary without the metal.
Right.
Oh yeah, there we go. There we go.
Hey guys,
I was the opposite of that, where it's got a girl getting hit in the armor only. I've seen that on Facebook before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I should mention I was actually I was in an episode of Xena Warrior Princess, and I got to meet Bruce Campbell, which was pretty cool.
Really?
And that's the benefit of living in New Zealand. It's a small place.
That's awesome.
I had long hair.
I need to figure out how you put those pictures up on your screen. I still can't figure out how to do it.
At the top of your screen, Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Screen
remember.
share?
Screen share, it's the green icon on the left side in the toolbar.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, screen share. Okay.
Yeah, no, Bruce. I've met Bruce Campbell too, and he's a hoot.
Yeah, he's
He
an
is a
outstanding guy.
tremendous dude. He never forgets the fans. He never forgets where he came from. He's told several of us that we're what it's all about to him, because without us, as he said, without you guys, I don't have a career. You know.
Yeah.
Well, he does. It's probably just very different.
There is that.
Taco Bell.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we were joking about that, and but it really is. And one thing I like about Bruce Campbell and a lot of his work, and I think it's important also, a concept for role-playing GMs, the difference between playing to your audience and pandering to them.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a difference. At least that's what I was taught in drama class so many years ago, probably long before any of you guys were born.
Oh, don't be so sure.
Bunch of kids.
Lonnie ages well over there.
Okay, yeah, no, let's see. For me, I was high
Don't
school.
let the Batman hat fool you.
Yeah.
I was going to say I graduated high school in 1967.
All right, so you got 3 years later I was born.
There we go. But no,
Yep.
no.
I won't stay young forever, but I can be immature until the day I die. So that's
Hey, what's that old saying? I have to grow old, but I don't have to grow up.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But no, when you're presenting that, when you're presenting material, you look at your audience. What's the difference between playing to the audience and pandering to them? And there is a difference as far as I'm concerned. Playing to your audience, I think, is important. You find out what they like. You emphasize that. Pandering to them, you hit the lowest common denominator. You just dive for the cellar, and there we go. Although that can be fun too.
I'd like to share a thing that I've learned. I taught public school for 4 years, and now I'm teaching in a charter school. And this charter school, we, like I said before, is virtue education. We hold the highest standard for the students I've ever come across in my limited experience here. And by calling them to a high standard, even fourth graders, even kindergartners, you see them rise to it. Not just rise to it, but go beyond it.
Yeah.
Because we are expecting a lot from them. And we can do the same with our players in our hobby. We expect more than sex jokes and Cheetos jokes and let's go kill everything. We expect to elevate the conversation, the storytelling, and our interactions together. And if we hold that high expectation, I think people will rise to it.
Oh, they do. I spent K through 12 in the Catholic school system. Went to my parish school. This was in the 1950s, 60s. And after 8 years at the parish school, 4 years at Christian Brothers Academy. Best damned education I got. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Because one of the things that we were taught at the academy especially was standards. There are standards of behavior that you are expected to follow, that you are expected to meet. And we actually took pride in the fact that we met those standards and we exceeded them. Yep. Because we represented our families, our school, our parish. That's what we were taught. And trust me, after 12 years of the nuns and the Christian Brothers, Army basic training was summer camp with guns.
Andrew, you said you worked at a school that used the Virtues program, is that right?
I work at a school called Great Hearts right now, and we use the 8 virtues as our sort of core educational element.
I worked at a school that had a virtues program. It had a bunch of different virtues, but I really liked the way that they implemented them, where it was kind of about less kid shaming and more on developing specific virtues. Yeah. It was. I really liked working with that. I wasn't sure if it was the same thing or what, but yeah, and that's kind of a good way to talk about. I think most people don't want to be offensive, I know I'm sometimes offensive, but I never want to be. You know, if someone can set me.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the bad guy.
Right, right. If you know you're hurting, most people, if you know you're hurting somebody's feelings or making them feel uncomfortable, you'll step it up. And if somebody isn't willing, that's just somebody, you know, broom them, man. There's tons of awesome people that are willing to play, and like you said, Andrew, I mean, you know, some people just need an example. Some people in this hobby especially, you know, have not even really spent a lot of time developing social skills in general, let alone social skills with women, you know?
Yeah.
I mean...
Oh, yeah. And some of them act like, it's like, haven't you guys ever seen a woman before?
Right.
And
they scare them off with some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth.
Oh, yeah, well, I tell you what, historical miniatures gaming is the same way.
Oh, I'm sure.
Some of these guys, I look at them and I go, you know, it'd be a lot more pleasant if you quit mouthing off with your politics, which is somewhere to the right of Attila the Hun. And I go, what are, and I always just say, I'm an Eisenhower Republican, okay? Or my favorite one is, I'm a Jeffersonian Marxist, and let them figure that one out. but no, I mean, and I don't know what it is like as an example in the role-playing game field, but I can tell you this: in historical miniatures, by and large, the vast majority of my fellow historical miniatures players tend to be very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very conservative, and it's very And my experience in the role-playing game is it tends to go all over the place.
Yeah.
It tends to go all over the place.
I tend to play rules light, storytelling type RPGs, and a lot of hippie liberals in that, which I'm okay with.
My wife's a hippie, so
yeah. So
hopefully don't hold it against me, but yeah, I'm a hippie liberal. But
earlier on, you guys were talking about broadcasting your games and things. I actually have some just audio recordings of some of my games, and they will never see public broadcast because of some of the comments that come out from my players. They almost take it as a sport to offend one group or another every single session that we have. So.
Okay, yeah, well.
But it's in the context of we're a bunch of friends sitting around. You know, if we were broadcasting, it would be a different story. Different story.
Yeah.
Or if you knew other people at somebody at your table couldn't, didn't feel comfortable. And
we do. We have. Yeah. Well, I've got a friend of mine who plays at the game who's very much an advocate for anything ism that comes up in the game. He's the first one to sort of raise the red flag, and I really appreciate that from him. You know, if we've ever stepped over the line with a joke or something like that, he takes offence at it, and that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but I have uninvited people. Like, I'm a very inclusive person, so I'll bring in completely new people. I've never met them before. I've heard about them from a friend who said, "Oh, he heard that you've got a space at the table." I'll say, "Come on, sit down," and I'll be just as quick to uninvite them from the table if they're if what they're saying is not in jest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't mean to interrupt the flow of things, but I wanted to say goodbye instead of just logging out. But it was really cool talking with you guys.
You too, man.
And I gotta get out of here, but hopefully we'll do another one of these again. It was interesting.
I hope so. Yeah.
I like doing them. I'll probably do another one in a couple weeks, and I'll let you guys know. Definitely. I'll post it on my channel and send it out again like I did today.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Later, Lonnie.
Hopefully not through your Twitter.
Later, Lonnie. Good meeting you.
No.
You too.
As long as he's holding the door, I'll slip out a long ways. I've still got a lot of work to do tonight. But thank you for having me and inviting us over, and I really enjoyed listening and gleaning the wisdom from the elders.
Watching your common elder, buddy.
Have a good one, Don Forgecast.
Good night, everybody.
Cool. Yeah. No, a couple of you came in kind of late. We originally tried to do this, and my computer crashed. And after it crashed, I guess a bunch of trolls came in and started getting disruptive. So we tried to launch it again when I got my computer back up, and that's where we're at now. So. Yeah, I guess they were making monkey noises and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, I missed the whole trolling bit.
Yeah.
I just came in when you guys were talking about Star Wars, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not really into that whole, like, the idea of the system, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I was just talking to Anthony before he actually got off in text over on Facebook, and he had said something about my wife playing. So I might let my wife play and just see if it looks interesting enough for me, and maybe I'll jump in some other time. But yeah, so you guys can set up a game like that for sure. So who knows, AJ? Maybe you can get the invite for that one. But yeah, you were going to do that Heroes Unlimited, right?
Yeah, I've currently setting up the Roll20 page because this will be my first experience of actually running a Google Hangout style. I played online games before, but not with this new everybody in your face technology, which is really fantastic so far.
Hey,
I
have a question for the assembled multitude.
Okay.
Have any of you ever played any of the Eden Studios Unisystem Light games, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel or Army of Darkness?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
5-star recommendation. 5-star recommendation. It's a great system. It's easy to use, and it's a lot of fun. And whether or not you happen to like Buffy or you don't, or I'm a fan of the show. I haven't missed an episode. I didn't miss an episode in its run. Hell, I even named one of my cats after her. But overall, because they have several different ones, I recommend. But I recommend them. I recommend the system. Primarily, if you want to do something quick, and if you want a convention game that is going to rock and roll, and just have people having a hoot of a good time, Army of Darkness, the RPG, uses the same system. That looks like I may do a review video on this then.
You should. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd watch it.
Okay.
Always very keen to learn about new game systems and things like that, just to see what I'm missing, you know, because I'm very much stuck with.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, it's an old game system. I think you can still get the books from Eden Studios, who did All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which was the original zombie RPG.
Right.
Can be very frustrating to deal with because you've heard of games, you know, they can't keep it. These people seem to take forever to get anything out, if at all.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but still, I recommend.
I'm a Palladium Books fan. They don't get anything out on time.
Never have, never will.
Nope.
Haven't done much with Palladium, so I won't, you know, I have no opinion on it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Same way really with D&D. I haven't played that much to where I could form a really, you know, informed opinion. So I'd rather just say, I don't know. I would rather tell you I don't know than bullshit you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd rather have somebody say, tell me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. But no, I'll post up a video. Has anybody here tried the Lord of the Rings, the One Ring game?
No.
No.
Looks like, again, phenomenal game because finally somebody got the right idea. Instead of taking an existing mechanic and shoehorning Lord of the Rings material into it, they went the exact opposite, Cubicle 7 did. They took Lord of the Rings and they developed specific mechanics for it.
I've heard good things about it. I think, was it Samwise? I think he did a review a while back. And you guys know him probably as Tim Harper. I think I've seen it on a couple other channels. And, you know, it looks interesting. I've wanted to get it for a long time. And my wife's a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I like Lord of the Rings. So, you know, it's something I think we could play. But, yeah, I just never got around to buying it. So.
Yeah, right now, if I would like to advise you, wait until the new core book comes out. 386 pages, I think, of it, because they combined both. They had a player's guide and a dungeon master's guide for one of them. Since I don't have it in front of me and can't. But the idea is they combined them. They also upgraded the systems. At least some of them.
And one of my issues is, say I go and buy it, I don't have anyone to really play it with for a long time. I mean, I just started a Pathfinder campaign. I'd like to play D&D next. I'm a Palladium Books fan, so I haven't had my Palladium fix in a couple of years now. and I have all the books on my shelf, and it's hard to justify keeping the books if you don't play the game. So, it's one of those things for me. So.
Yeah. No, and I think we could do a whole thing on games we have on our shelves. We really wish we could play again. And
well, mine's not that bad. I got it all right here.
Yeah, no, with me, I have a whole row of stuff from an RPG called Fading Suns.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All I would be doing is screen share and loading up a whole bunch of PDFs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's just, I'm...
Have you played Savage Worlds, Frank?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my... I know Shane.
It sounds like it's... Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say, it sounds like you would like that system a lot. So.
I love that system. I have also... I have a lot of the Weird Wars books. I have Weird Wars Rome, Weird Wars... I've even got Weird Wars Vietnam. People look at me, and people look at me like, well, wait a minute. You were over there. Does this... No, this is a damn game. And nothing to do with what I did over there.
Right.
And it's kind of like, oh, so this is what really went on, huh? No, I should have paid more attention to the CIA briefings. And I know some of my fellow veterans feel very strongly about that, and know they don't want to in any way, shape, or form. And I respect that. And as I always tell people, I'm no damned hero. Guy went over there and did his job. 12 months, came home. That's it.
At least you came home, man. That's all I can say.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, well, I've been trying to make sense of it ever since. And that's the hard part. And something I use, and some of my friends will use it too, is we'll actually put on videos. Like when I was doing some World War II RPGs. Guess what I put on? Band of Brothers. Just some of the scenes from there. One friend of mine that was doing an absolutely kick-ass Lord of the Rings puts on the scene. In fact, it was for that very adventure. We were at the Gates of Moria, that particular, you're in front of the bike. He put on that scene, Aragorn's speech.
Oh, yeah.
And it just put us right square in the mood. Man, we're there. We're there. We're ready to go. So, yeah, and I like to use a lot of effects. And in Call of Cthulhu, you want to use props. Props make it real.
Yeah, the newspapers and things like that.
Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft.
That's actually one of the things I was curious about as a new GM and stuff. It was, how do you guys handle putting in modern media like music, games, movies, TV series, and stuff inspired from them into your games? Oh,
that's a good question. Actually, I stream some music in the background when I play. Most of my players don't actually even notice it until I point it out and ask them, hey, does the music bother you? But I was doing Rivendell Radio, which is kind of a Lord of the Rings kind of sound. But I found a site the other day, I'll post the link here, that's music as well, and it's all free stuff, and you can play whatever ones you want, whatever tracks. Whereas the Rivendell Radio jumps around a little bit. So I'll post that in here on the side here for you to check out if you want. I think it's Realmworks? I don't know. I'll figure it out in a minute, though.
I have a MP3 player, or rather an iPod. I've got the iPod dock and speakers. And I'll dial up depending on what I want to. Tangerine Dream is great when you're doing modern weird-ass adventures. I found classical music. I've done that for Lord of the Rings. I love classical music. Well, I love all kinds of music. I did one. I think it was one where I was playing. My daughter and I were playing a father-daughter vampire hunting team. Right, and I'm listening to. I got 80s music going, and the first thing she says in character, she says, "Okay, enough. Quit with the hair music already, Dad." That kind of thing, and it just grew. And it was a lot of fun. It encourages people. It puts them in the mood, I think, and I like that.
What about you, AJ?
I generally don't have music playing in the background unless one of my friends is using his tablet, because I don't have a tablet, unfortunately. I'm working on it. I do use props, obviously. I use a lot of props in the form of dungeon terrain and customized miniatures and all sorts of stuff like that. But I find the best tool that I have for my game is YouTube, using videos that from watching other people and how they play. Like, for instance, Barker. I don't know if you guys have seen Barker or him running his games and things, but what he does is
Game Master?
Be a better game master. He does very descriptive knowledge checks where he actually does it as a flashback for the character in game.
He's my current GM.
Oh, right. Okay,
Oh, really?
so you know exactly
That's
what I'm
awesome.
talking about. And I started using that technique in my game, and I had one player who was very disengaged from it, and he would play it. My character does this, my character does that. As soon as I started using the descriptive, immersive knowledge checks and actually going into the background of his character, he got it. He was switched in, and he had an actual visceral, emotional reaction to the game. And yeah, it was highly effective.
Sorry about that. My internet is
So, so yeah, that's. I know it's not quite multimedia, but as a dungeon master, that counts as far as I'm concerned.
Barker's my
Using-
current GM, my 5th edition game I'm in.
Yeah. How good does he do, Mitchell? Is he
He's
good?
actually doing really great.
You can
And
watch their game.
He's
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got a. Sorry,
post
I
a
was
link
watching
every
you
time we
guys.
play.
Yeah, trying to get out of a ship that you guys were prisoners on, and it was sinking and stuff. That was quite
Yeah.
quite.
Is that on Barker's channel or is that on someone else's channel?
That's on Gaming Beast's channel. That's Sean's channel. Sean Vigvari.
I don't think I have him. I'll have to look him up.
But one of the things I found interesting is sometimes too the music will click in at it's the appropriate tune for the appropriate time, and it wasn't planned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I was playing in my friend Mike's Lord of the Rings game, and we were charging this phalanx of orcs basically, and just as we start to charge, you hear the one piece end, and the next thing you know, it's Flight of the Valkyries. And you da, 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 da. Yeah! And it just hit. And
Everybody gets a +1 bonus.
yeah, he actually gave us bonuses for the music.
You guys have all got temporary hit points.
Yeah, you know, it's great. And but just to have that happen, hell, we had such a nerd fest going with our Lord of the Rings games that when I was discussing with Mike what my story arc would be, I said romance. You know, I want my character Celegorn the Ranger, you know, to meet some knight. He said, and Mike says, okay, who did you want to play her? Which actress? So I can get an idea. I said, Allison Hannigan. Remember the redhead from How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
And before that, Buffy. And so I finally meet her. I say, what is your name? And the NPC goes, my name is Tetheriel. And I found out later Tetheriel means Willow Maiden. And she said, I'm Tetheriel of, I think it was Dole, I'm trying to say Dole something or other, and I can't remember the exact. What it meant was Hill of the Roses. Rosenberg. I'd met Willow Rosenberg, the Middle-earth person. And he translated the names into Sindarin. And that's
Was she a witch?
No, actually, she was the daughter of a very well-to-do merchant who had been kidnapped by orcs, taken off into slavery in Mordor, and wound up working in a tavern in Minas Tirith. Why do I keep wanting to say Minestrone? I've been reading Lord of the Rings again, I guess. But it was just that it's those kind of in-jokes, I think, that really help solidify a group as well. Just the little touches.
Yeah.
The little things. Because you look at the movies. One of the best examples for a movie, The Terminator. You look at the little things that they do. Look at him when he's in the bar, firing the Uzi one-handed. What does he do when he runs out of ammunition? He drops the magazine, slaps another one, and it cocks it, but he does it without looking at his hands. Apparently Schwarzenegger practiced that move for several weeks for that one particular scene.
He's a machine.
That sells it, because we subconsciously respond to body movement. You know, it triggers reactions, and when you look at that and you go, wait a minute, that's not human. Humans don't stare straight out and lock and load. That's not human. And it was just a little shtick, you know, a few second scene, but it set the character, developed it. And that's, you know, that's right. I mean, details are important. You know, just little details. That kind of thing.
No, I agree with that.
One of the things I think my players kind of liked is whenever they would get to a major city, I would sometimes explain to them that the local play going on is one of the local movies that's playing at the theater.
Yeah.
They actually wanted to stop and have us go see Guardians of the Galaxy, the play.
Great movie.
I'm stealing that idea, by the way.
Forsooth, Lord Thanos has come to blah blah blah.
King Thanos.
King Thanos.
And, by the way, that was a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus.
First time I did this, I had Star Wars.
Yeah, that's why I put it up there, but I haven't seen it yet.
Me neither. The first time I did that, I put up the Star Wars Episode 6 was in a theater for the game, and they were like, our players want to go see this. And I was like, all right. So I put on the DVD player, put on the movie, and for the next hour and a half, our characters role played us watching the movie.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Should have done a longer movie like Lord of the Rings, the trilogy.
Yeah. Oh, right. Another question for the assembled multitude. Any of you guys ever run or played in a police procedural, a modern police procedural, where you're cops solving crimes?
Nope. Just superheroes.
Oh, okay, because I have. One of my friends runs some very good ones. It's very challenging. And if you do it right, like my late father was a cop for 25 years, Kansas City, Missouri. And his reaction to the Dirty Harry movie was, my God, that crazy son of a bitch has shot and killed more people in 24 hours than I drew my gun on in 25 years.
Right.
Well,
wow.
Yeah, well, the way Steve, my friend, set up the procedurals is we never drew our guns. We never got into gunfights. We were too busy tracking down leads.
Investigating, yeah.
Investigating. And my God, it was fun. You could get us playing for 6 hours just trying to solve a couple of, mysteries. I had the famous Steve McGarrett chalkboard, kind of like from Hawaii Five-0, and I said, what's wrong with this picture? Well, we've got this guy and this guy and this guy, and we go talk to him, and we just, it's called, it's crossing the T's, dotting the I's, which is what you've got to do in any kind of investigation. Yeah. But it was so much fun. Finally, the only time our guns came out is if we had the guy pull something silly during arrest. Otherwise, it was just show the badge, you got your piece and you got your hand resting on. It's like, come on with us, sir. And
get out of the car, sir.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it's a challenge, just like running Call of Cthulhu. You want to make that investigation memorable.
I've never even played Call of Cthulhu, and I know it's one of the most popular genres and games out there, and I've never played it.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. I haven't played it.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful game. I've been playing it since 1981 when it first came out.
Wow.
And by the way, I'm going to do a little quick plug here.
Go for it.
Everybody's saying they use miniatures.
Yep.
I don't. Most I use is a couple.
Well, in case you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm doing terrain and stuff right now.
Oh, neat. If you guys are looking for inexpensive, this is it. Fireforge. They make beautiful plastic. Yeah, these are plastic.
Do they have a website off the top of your head?
Yes, they do.
What is the website?
The website. Well, I'll give you their American distributor.
Okay.
which is called Architects of War, and just Google it. I don't know who does their distribution, and I assume, AJ, that you're from England?
New Zealand.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, sir. Didn't mean to be insulting.
It's
Actually,
all right. We have very refined accents here.
yeah, I always hear I got a couple of friends who are Ozmen, and I used to hear Kiwi jokes from them, but then I hear Australian jokes from you guys. So
yeah, we're like Australia. We're like America and Canada.
yeah,
Except if they really hated each other.
yeah. No, this is kind of what you get with. This is the sprue of night. You put them together, which means you can get an incredible.
That sounds like work.
Of course, it's work. It's a hobby in and of itself.
Yeah, well, I told you I'm a wargamer. I just got into the Crusade era.
These do look pretty cool.
Oh, they are. They're wonderful. I've got a lot of the
Men of Evil right now.
Huh? Oh,
Yeah, Men of Evil. I don't know. It's under miniatures there on that page. The Architects of War.
Yep. Look for miniatures. Look for
They aren't cheap though. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fireforge. Also look for Gripping Beast. Gripping Beast is
Didn't find it. Let me try.
Gripping Beast is they do plastics as well, and they do Dark Ages infantry. They do Vikings. They do Saxons. It's all plastic. You can do a lot of swapping and modifying. They've just come out with Arab spearmen and archers.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Fireforge.
We've got some sci-fi stuff there too. Lots of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. Architects of War. I'm trying to think. There should be somebody in New Zealand. I know somebody in New Zealand who's a historical miniatures game. So, if you ever run into Keith McNally, say hello.
Okay.
Are you North or South Island?
North Island.
Oh, okay. I think Keith's North Island as well.
Trying to reach.
Oh yeah.
Most of the people in the country are in the North Island, although it's the smaller of the two.
Life is more fun for you.
Hey, AJ, what do you think of this new 2.5D method, by the way, with DM Scotties?
I think it's an innovation for sure, which is pretty much the hallmark of our little crafting community. Is coming up with new stuff. I'm pretty much into the 2.5D myself, and I think a lot of people will continue doing 2.5D.
Yeah.
Perhaps Scotty's realizes that he's reached the limits of what he wants to do for videos and things for 2.5D. I'm sure he's going to carry on making stuff for both systems. But I don't really speak for the guy. From my personal perspective, I like it. I can see a lot of people doing casting of those pieces that he's done. Just you can do cheap 3D
Quick
printed
and modular
versions. Yeah, quick and modular. For me, it suffers the same sort of problem that many modular systems do, which is that you're still going to be making specific things for specific sets, and you're still going to be making set piece tiles for particular rooms or encounters that you want to run. That set he's got is really good for hallways and rooms and setting up general
Quick on the fly things.
Yeah, but as somebody else mentioned, you're going to have to keep going back and rebuilding what you visited before. So I would probably, if I was using that system, I'd find myself taking photos as I went. Again, multimedia at the table, taking photos of where you are, so you can go back and reference that later on.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
I like it.
Like that?
Me, probably at some point.
Yeah.
I'll never rule anything out. I'll try anything,
Yeah.
I'm considering making it just using cardboard and then putting hot glue on the bottom so they don't slide all over my table.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can think of.
Hot glue or putting some felt down, like a felt sheet on your table.
Are you guys talking about buildings, right?
Building terrain. DM Scotty, DM Craft. He mainly used to do cardboard dungeons and things like that, and he just came out with a new system for how he does it, and it's a little bit more modular, so it's like wall pieces and then stuff like that. Yeah, you look at AJ's. There's a good example right there. I have some too, I think, around here. I don't know if it's up here still. It's all downstairs.
I tend to get all of my buildings from Miniature Building Authority, resin cast, pre-painted.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, we make it mainly ourselves.
Yeah, this is just very simple. This is just a printed out piece of paper.
Okay.
And that's double ply cardboard that it's stuck onto. So it's very lightweight, extremely strong, and lasts for ages. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the whole idea to me of the 3D printing just changes everything. Changes everything. Because when I first started in miniatures, which was 1972, your choices were Napoleonic and more Napoleonics. That was probably the thing, the popular period. But the casting quality was very spotty. Some were very good. Others, like, I think they're British. I know they're Scots. Why? Because they're wearing dresses, okay? Oh, God, don't let my wife hear me. Oh, Jesus. Kick my butt. But now it's just phenomenal. Here, hang on a second, guys. I want to get something real quick.
Okay.
Let me get to my table.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the DM Scotty stuff, and the new thing, I was really excited about it. Now I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, I could see it being useful for on-the-fly stuff, but for things that I've been building up for, I don't know if I would use it for that.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. And I do like the cave system. He did like that a lot. That's something I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, the guy who's been producing these, the paper products that I've been printing out and making into tiles, he's currently working on a cavern system as we speak, and it can't be soon enough because I got my game is currently in a cavern right now, so I need to get some stuff done right now.
What do you use right now?
At the moment, I'm using just some foam rubber and stuff to build modular caves, kind of like the system that Scotty's using. Actually, I'll have some cut out bits of foam on toothpicks.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how well you guys can see this.
Yeah. I see it though.
That's a plastic figure.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a Saxon churl. And this one is a fantasy figure that I got from War Games Factory. I haven't built the whole set yet. This is an orc.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I've got some figurines which I got from who are they called? I'm not sure, but it's you'll probably recognise it. This is a ghoul.
Yeah.
Figure. Here, let me fix. Yeah. Oh, that looks sweet.
Yeah.
And the same sort of thing. It comes in a modular sort of sprue, so you can stick them together in different configurations. So not one of them that I made, and there was a good 40 or so. I've only painted about half of them because that's all I needed. Look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'm a saga player.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an Anglo-Danish war band. I've got my Viking war band almost finished. But these plastics, when you look at it, you get with for example, Dark Ages infantry. 40 plastic figures for $32.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and they're great. By the way, this one here that I showed you earlier, the Saxon, that's actually a head swap that comes from, I think that's a Viking head. But you swap them around. You can swap them around. You can do all sorts of things with them. And I think we're going to get to the point where you can actually sit there and design a figure in your own home and send it to your little 3D printer, and there you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can buy a set of 3D plans. I'm still trying to talk outfits like War Games Factory and say, why don't you do a box of real shield maidens, women that aren't running around in chainmail bikinis, but rather actually look like the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3D printing's been around for a while. That's what they call rapid prototyping. So that's been around in companies for a while. Now that it's finally a desktop versions that people can even build their own 3D printers these days. So I think there's definitely a market for all you artists out there who are watching this now or in the future. Get cracking, man. We're trying to. This is one of the things I would love to use as a DM and say, okay, I need a monster right now. Push a button and it starts printing, and it's ready by game time, and you can just throw it on the table.
One of my friends has a whole bunch of hero clicks, and that's what he uses.
What's really fun though, like for example, when you're playing Call of Cthulhu, it's when you set something out on the table, and the players all go, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
No idea, and it is amazing how much.
Infamous for that.
We used to say back in the day, crap in the neck these guys get. Well, I've got a Tommy gun. Well, yeah, it's probably not going to affect it. Don't shoot it. You're just going to make it mad. I like that whole idea. But you surprise your players with it.
Yeah.
I got an example here of a D&D version of a Dalek that I made for a game. And this is also made for a competition on the web forums that me and Juice were talking about before.
Ah. Oh,
you can
wow.
Oh, I can't see it. There we go.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that.
Man.
I love making that. That was awesome. That's just from a plastic box that green stuff comes in, the plastic tube that it comes in. And, yeah, so not as hard to build as you'd think.
Yeah, no, one of the things I'm waiting for, there's a model company called Rubicon Models. They do World War II vehicles. Their stuff is amazing. I'm waiting for them to start producing, so they'll come out sometime in October. What do you want for your birthday, my wife asked? A platoon Panzer Mark IVs, okay?
Did she get it for you?
No, she just basically tells me, okay, that's fine, just put it on your credit card.
Oh, I always ask for gaming stuff. I never get it.
But no, actually, one of the things, though, that I think is interesting is she's not, I've had, when I was single, and I was single for a very long time.
I'm still single.
You're the lucky one. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, and I went to a place in I usually get my vehicles from a place called JTFM Enterprises. Mm-hmm. And they had just come out with a new Tiger tank, new Tiger 1. And I'm reading on one of my forums, and these guys are going, well, I guess I'm going to have to ask the wife, and see if it's okay with her, and et cetera, et cetera. And I just posted, I just ordered 2 of them. The next post says, you're obviously a bachelor. And I said, my answer is, well, yeah. But, and by the way, eventually I actually wound up selling them at a convention without ever putting them together. I did it just, my wife said, yeah, you were just, my wife says, yeah, you were just being a dick.
No kidding.
And she's very honest about that, and she's very, open about that. So now, at the end of the month, because I'm on fixed income, so is she, I'm retired disabled. You sit down and you plan out. And we plan out, well, I'd like to get this, this, and this. And sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's, hey, Frank, can you wait until such and such a date when we have... Very reasonable about it. And I'm like, boy, this isn't at all what I expected. And like I said, though, marrying her was the smartest damn thing I've ever done in my life.
There's actually money in your bank.
Oh, yeah, because she's her good Scots ancestry.
Mine's the opposite. I mean, it was a great decision, but it cost me a lot of money paying for her student loans when we first met and all that crazy stuff. Yeah. But now she's the one making all the money, and I'm just kind of starting a business. So Yeah,
no, I worked for years. I worked for the University of South Florida when I lived down in Tampa. And I retired medically there in 2008 because I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, it was, they caught it early, prostate cancer. It's
Okay.
it's in remission,
Good.
and you know, but
Hello, fellow survivor.
dude, we rock.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
you missed that. Yeah, Mitchell over here is a survivor as well, so.
and because one of the things I used to do every day before I had 42 sessions of radiation therapy. Whoa!
That was his leg
Wow.
that you just pulled out. So.
I had 42 sessions of radiation therapy. And every day before I'd go to that therapy, I'd listen to Sir Kenneth Branagh's Henry V, his St. Crispin's Day speech. I found that to be very inspiring.
Yeah.
And because mine's linked to exposure to Agent Orange when I was in Vietnam. The area I operated in had one of the highest concentrations. And as we said, Agent Orange, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it inspired me. And there was also a song by a rock band. Anybody here remember a band called Asia?
Yeah.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I've heard
did.
of it.
They did an absolutely wonderful song called "Days Like These," and it's days like these I feel like I can change the world. And I'd listen to that, and I'd say, because about halfway through those sessions, it was hitting me bad.
Mm-hmm.
But what kicked in was, how much is your life worth? You know, you're gonna fight this. So I sucked it up, and I used to post. I did it in Russian, and I can't remember the Russian words now. Damn it! But it's the motto of the. It was the saying of the Red Guards in the defense of Stalingrad: no retreat, no surrender, not one step backwards. That's what it took for me. And,
Right.
You know, it changed my life. Changed my life. It really did. Because when I got the initial diagnosis, the first thing you really go through is like, you know, you got to figure out, is my life worth fighting for? And my answer came back, not yes, but hell yes. So yeah, here I am, and I'm enjoying it every day. Every day is a gift, as far as I'm concerned.
That's a good attitude, definitely.
I'm gonna rock and roll. Oh, excuse me, I have one. Just a second.
Oh, okay.
It's my cat. One of our cats. We have 3 dogs and 3 cats.
I had to chase a cat out of the room just a second ago, so.
My dog.
What's it with role players and cats, man? We all have cats.
I inherited 2 of the 3 cats we have, just for the record.
Yeah, I've got my my ex housemate's cat. He moved on, and the cat stayed.
Yeah.
I'm not a cat person, to be honest.
I love them both. When I started dating my wife, I went out to her farm. She had a farm out here north of Gainesville. She still has it too. We're renting it now, leasing it to a very nice family. And I see these 5 dogs. I mean, these 4 of them are big, and I'm like, what the hell? Well, I've made friends with all of them, but the 5th one was this poor little ball of fur that was sitting in the corner. And he wasn't little. He was about 35 pounds. That's a good medium-sized dog. A Keeshond.
Okay. I thought you were talking about a cat. I was about to say, what?
There's a Keeshond.
Like 8 pounds.
Yeah, no, for those of you who are familiar with breed, he's a Keeshond. It's a Dutch breed.
Okay.
I call him the little wolf because that's what he looks like now that we've had to shave him, because he had this huge fur coat. And they don't shed, it mats. So
Our one cat is like that, where the fur mats all the time. We have 3, and 2 of them have long hair. The one, it always like lays on the floor, and so it knots its hair, no matter what, and it won't let you brush it without attacking you.
Yeah, I know that. But anyway, so the Keeshond and I bonded. Shadow and I bonded. So I have my little wolf. That's what I call him, the little wolf. Because when he shaved, he looks like a little wolf. And I say, he used to be a dire wolf. He got left out in the rain and shrank.
They do look quite wolf-like. They've got a sort of Alsatian sort of coloration.
Yeah, the pointed snout. Mine's got a fox face. And he's that beautiful gray-black, but now he's kind of silvery white. He's an old fella. But and my cat is a solid gray. with Jade Green Eyes, Rascal. That was the other one. He hated me when he first saw me. Now I can't get rid of him. His favorite trick is when I'm working at the computer to jump right up in the middle of my lap like, dude, pay attention. But no, by the way, there's a very good role-playing game by John Wick. And for all of you, those of you who are familiar with John Wick.
Good name.
Oh, yeah, he did, among other things, he did 7th Sea. Did a lot of work for that. John did this wonderful RPG called Cat, the game of little heroes, and you role-play a cat. And it's really cool.
And yarn.
Yeah. Squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel. Shiny. And I think that's pretty novel.
Laser.
Human foot. Attack.
And something too that I've done. I don't know how many of you guys remember the whole satanic panic of the 1980s.
Oh yeah, lived through all that.
I was an adult gamer during that time period.
Some churches, it's still alive today. So.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
I live in the part of Michigan that is considered the Bible Belt of Michigan. We're in West Michigan. A lot of conservatives and very religious people. Small towns with 50-some churches. So part of the reason I have a second, Facebook page and things like that is because I have to keep my personal life a little bit separated from this so people don't, have little panics. But, it's just one of those things. Because people just don't understand.
Closet role-playing gamer.
But I'm not. I mean, you walk into my kitchen and, there's gaming books everywhere, and all my family knows, and all my friends know. Just business. I just try to keep it separate from my business.
Oh, yeah, no, that's...
I got evicted from staying at this lady's house when I came back from overseas. I had to stay temporarily with a good Samaritan, and she threw me out of her house because she found some Magic the Gathering cards that I played on the coffee table. She had no idea what they were, and she just saw these pictures of monsters. I got home and she was gone, and there was just a note saying, "Please leave," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
You play crack cocaine for gamers, huh?
I had Magic cards.
Yeah.
I played it for about a year, and then I got out of it.
Yeah, no.
Say what you want. It is a good game for a reason.
It's fun. Yeah, it's expensive, but fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I played the card games I really play are poker. I always love playing poker, and I do not like two-card Texas Hold'em. Because that's not really playing a game. That's something else. I played like 5-card draw, 5-card stud, 7-card stud, like my dad taught me.
The game I play the most right now is Candyland with my 3-year-old daughter.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's like the Cards Against Humanity.
You get a pass on any game. If you're playing it with your kids, you got an automatic pass on any sort of game. You could be playing Unicorn Fairy Candyland. That's
you got the parental shield right there. It's like
I want
to turn it into an RPG though. I want Candyland D&D or something.
Yeah, thanks to my daughter, I discovered a lot of different things. I had remembered I was ramping up a band, an NPC kind of band for like a Call of Cthulhu adventure, and I said, well, can we do this kind of like, I guess, symphonic metal, and that kind of thing, and I called them they were an all-female group, and I called them Vessels of Iniquity.
Looking at me like that. It made me think I kicked you.
And
Mitchell, quit kicking your cat.
Yeah.
It's my dog. Of course, calling it a dog is a bit of a stretch. It looks like a small bear.
Okay. No, but she actually.
Hold on,
and my daughter said, I said, well, I wonder what they sound like. And my daughter said, have you ever heard of a band called Nightwish?
I've heard of that band, I think.
Oh, yeah, I love Nightwish.
Oh, God, yes. What do I do?
For the camera.
I wind up. Oh. You gotta love them. You gotta love them. But no, and then we want.
She's not letting me back out.
And we wound up going to a Nightwish concert. My daughter and I did one of the best nights of my life, just hanging out with my kid.
I am AJ's seething envy.
What? It's the point of having an extremely cool daughter and son-in-law now. Great folks. If you can't hang out with them, hell, they're gamers, they're geeks.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait till my daughter can comprehend just rolling the correct dice. That's it. That's all she needs.
And then the second time I went to see Nightwish was with my wife, who is also a Nightwish fan. So it's kind of like, wow. I am surrounded by, like I said, marrying her was the smartest thing I've ever done. Best move I ever made in my life.
You know, Frank, she's not going to watch this, so it's okay.
No, that's all right. I tell her that all the time anyway. Yeah, we're going to do our
You
second
guys
one.
have ever heard of the band called Seether, though?
I love Seether.
Yeah.
Yeah, they helped me going through my cancer treatments, and I saw a concert with them not too long ago. My mom bought me those tickets for my birthday. I went there with my brother and her and his girlfriend, and they signed my leg.
There you go.
Cool!
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
That's great, man.
You get like a free pass, like, hey, I'm missing my leg. Come on.
Yeah, I went out to the tour bus. They were already on tour on the bus and stuff. And I was like, hey, can you let the guys know on the bus that I'm like a 10-year cancer survivor, and when I was going through, their songs really helped me and stuff with the things they went through with depression and stuff. The guy said, wait here. Went on the bus. I was like, okay. I sat down. 5 minutes later, the guys come off the bus.
Yeah.
As a Seether fan, do you hate Evanescence?
I don't hate Evanescence.
I'm an Evanescence fan. I
songs.
love
like
Amy
some of
Lee.
them.
I think she has an awesome voice. So.
Well, Evanescence also turned me on to what was their name? Not Nightwish. They put me on to them too, but Within Temptation.
Oh yeah, God, they are so good. They are so
Another thing I
good.
got to write down.
AJ's just like, yeah, another thing, yes.
Yeah, okay. No, that's
Google. Don't fail me now.
Yeah, Nightwish and Seether, you guys just happened to hit on a few of the bands with the most politics going on. What with Nightwish and the New Singers and
when
not even going to mention it really.
Yeah, no. When we saw them, by the way, that's when they had the newest one, Floor.
Floor, oh my God, awesome.
Oh, were they? The first song that they sang in their set was "Story Time" from their newest album, and then the second one was "If I Had an Angel." So it's like, oh my God. See, I never saw them with Tarja. I saw them with her replacement, whose name escapes me right now.
Annette?
Yeah, Annette. And then when my wife and I saw them at House of Blues over near Orlando, it was with Floor. And and Camelot was their opening act.
Is Floor now their singer? Because she was I sort of heard of her when she was doing a sort of a cameo guest spot with them. Is she now actually?
She's now their singer.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just.
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to offend anybody, but by saying that she's better than Tarja, but she is.
I'm offended. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Pitchfork.
But no, by the way, our wedding anniversary is coming up in 8 days. It's on August 25th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I met her in May of 2012. We were married August 25th, 2012.
Oh, you're still newlyweds then.
Pretty much, yeah. We were kind of like, well, we're in our 60s. The kids are grown. She's got a grown daughter. And, careers have wound down. It's like, what the hell are we waiting for? So I packed up and moved up here to Gainesville and became a first-time homeowner.
Oh, congratulations there. I'm a realtor, so I see people all the time that first-time homeowners. But yeah.
Yeah, but mine
pretty
was
exciting.
Yeah, when you're 63, it's really interesting.
Is it scarier than it is exciting?
A little of both. Now, Mame, that's her name. is done a lot of work on the interior of the house. It looks beautiful. One of her grandfather, great-grandfather, was a fairly renowned artist and critic. And we have some of his artwork, paintings and such, that we're going to put up. And she's put up a lot of stuff. She said, well, why don't you get your stuff out, we'll put that up too. So I've got some of my model soldiers on display in one of our bookcases that she asked. She said, can you put up some of your figures? I said, sure.
Oh, that's cool.
It really helps. Because another thing I find that I really love about her, I can bounce ideas off her. She's a very well-educated, very intelligent lady. I'm kind of like, gee, why is she marrying me? You know, but no.
That's usually the natural guy's response. I'm like, what the hell is she doing with me?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of like, yeah, well, you know. But
my wife pursued me, and I don't know. I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, you chased her till she caught you. Okay, I know how that works.
Well, we worked together actually, and I was we worked in a bar. I was a bouncer, and she was a waitress. And she always said that the reason she was interested is because I showed no interest. I just kind of ignored her, and she, always tried to talk to me. And yeah, so that's kind of how it came to be. Yeah.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Yeah. Well. And just as a matter of reflection, this is my second year missing Gen Con because I went from 2009. From 2009 to 2012, I would go every year.
Do you go for the whole event or just a day? Or?
For the whole event. I'm from Florida. That's a long haul up there to Indy.
Yeah.
But last year, right about the time of Gen Con, they had, a week after that was Necronomicon 2013 in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay.
An entire convention of H.P. Lovecraft scholars. Workshops, celebrated authors. Oh my God. I was in hog heaven. And she would have gone with me.
So when you go to Gen Con, do you just try and play in as many games as possible or meet a lot of the developers? What's your strategy going into it?
Oh, I try to play. I know a lot of the developers and a lot of the game designers. I know them quite well. I've got a couple of books autographed by Shane Hensley, Savage Worlds. I hang out with them. I play. I attend some panels. If a panel interests me, I'll go attend. I eat a lot of food I shouldn't. And I hit that dealer's room. I always hit it Thursday, the first day, so I can buy all my stuff, blow all my money then.
Usually it's me at Artist Alley.
Yeah. And
That's funny.
Sadly, I've never gone to a Gen Con, and I probably never will because I live in New Zealand.
AJ, we're going to make it happen. You're going to sell a bunch of cardboard next year, and you're going to find a way to go.
Actually,
yeah, never say never.
one of the things now, though, is Gen Con has gotten huge. They're talking 50,000 people.
Yeah, or 57 at least the first day this year.
57,000?
At least, yeah, that's what they said. Rough estimates at the door.
My wife does not handle large crowds very well. And it would be very trying and uncomfortable for her. So I prefer to go places now that we can go together. Last year we went to World Horror Con in New Orleans. That was a ball. We had a great time there. She would have gone with me to Necronomicon, but she had to work. This coming spring, we're headed for World Horror Con in Atlanta. And if they have a Necronomicon 2015, we're going there, too. She wants to go back. She visited Providence when she was a little girl. She's got lots of family up in New England. She wants to go. And boy, did I look out finding her. Wow.
I've been wanting to go to Comic-Con since like forever.
Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah, San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think Gen Con wants to become the San Diego, the Comic-Con of Indianapolis.
Yep.
But Joe, if you're looking at that many people, that's just too many for me.
No, not for me. I love large groups. People,
Yeah, me too.
large groups of nerds. Come on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just came from.
It's like I'm with my people.
MechaCon. I've already told Juice this, but I'm not sure if you guys heard. I just came from MechaCon in New Orleans, and man, that was jam packed.
Well, you guys have a lot of cons.
Bathrooms were fucking gross, though.
We've got like one a year here, which is Armageddon, which runs in 3 centers.
This year, this has nothing to do with nerdy stuff in the nerd sense, but it is nerdy in the sense of cars. We have the world's largest car event that took place today here in Michigan. This is my first year not going in 8 or 9 years. It's called the Woodward Dream Cruise, where over 1 million people show up and drive down a road called Woodward Avenue through 13 cities and just go back and forth. And, you know, muscle cars, old classics.
So it's basically the car version of Sturgis.
Yes, actually, yeah. And Jay Leno comes out to it, Tim Allen. I mean, tons of celebrities. Today, I guess some athletes were there showing off their Lamborghinis. I mean, it's made for muscle cars, but people drive all sorts of cars out there. It's amazing. You can always YouTube and see a bunch of cool stuff. But yeah,
makes sense that we'd be in Michigan too. I mean, you guys produced most of the classic muscle cars in the world.
Yeah, it's huge. I love it. I really, actually, it's bad because I forgot because I moved to the west side of the state last year. So I used to live within 45 minutes of it. Now I'm about 2.5 hours away. Wow. And they don't even talk about it over here.
Oh, so, you're not in the Upper Peninsula, are you?
Oh, hell no. No, I'm in Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you know, I used to live here, and now I live like here.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
There's
my map.
It's just like
Michigan happens a little like my hand.
Yep. The Michigan mitten.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I know this area like the back of my hand. What? You're not looking at the back of your hand.
It's the back of my left hand.
But
you want to say that again?
Yeah.
But no, I really, I'm down here in Gainesville, Florida, home of the University of Florida. Mm-hmm. And I spent about half my life, first 25 years or so, in Kansas City, Missouri, growing up there. Midwestern boy. And I moved down here in 1974 and never went back. So I was asking Runeslinger about that because he lives in Daejeon, Korea, South Korea.
Yeah, he's way out there.
Yeah, and I asked him, I said, what's a good Canadian guy, doing in Korea? He said, well, he had gone there for about a year on kind of like a sabbatical before he went to, he said that was 17 years ago. So, it just comes down to if you find a place you like and people you really like, and, you just stop and you stay there. You put down roots.
Ultimately, I think I'd rather be back in Ann Arbor. I mean, it's just more my style, my pace, and everything. The people there are, really nice and friendly, and they're not judgmental. They're very open to everybody, all types of people. Like I said, over here it's a little more conservative, and people can be judgmental. Slower pace. Stores close really early. I'm not used to that. Just a different world.
I know. Gainesville is fascinating because you've got the best of a rural lifestyle. There's a lot of farms around here. I went to the farmer's market this morning, or actually yesterday morning, because it's 1:18 in the morning here, and yet you have the University of Florida, which is very cosmopolitan. And we have a very active arts community.
That's how it was in Ann Arbor. And here in Grand Rapids, they have a big arts community. They have an event called Art Prize, where a lot of people come in from all over the country to do these giant sculptures and things like that, and just all sorts of different types of art. And it just takes up all of downtown, and it's a couple weeks, maybe a month in November or October, and people just go downtown and look at all these different exhibits. It's pretty cool.
But awesome. I think what we do, as whether we call ourselves game masters or dungeon masters or storytellers, is an art. And it's an incredible art form.
I'm going to head off, guys.
All right, take it easy, AJ.
Take it easy, AJ.
Catch you later.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I think I'm about to say.
It's past midnight here.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out too, just because it's 1:30. I was actually just setting my alarm on my phone.
Yeah, I'm out of here too, guys. It was wonderful, and let's do this again.
Yeah, definitely. We will soon, for sure.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
All right, see you guys.